It's June 17th, 2024. I am Actual Pearl, and it's time to get in the weeds. Jeremy Lambert's here. A wonderful Monday. It's time to get our business going. It's time to have some fun. It's time to talk minimal amounts of wrestling. Jeremy Lambert, good morning. How are you doing? What are you sipping from?
This is my favorite coffee mug here, Joel. It's the all too well lyrical version here. 10-minute lyrics.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, really. Yeah, lyric of 10-minute version. Lovely wife got me this a while ago. And coffee, always coffee, Joel. Another thumbs up. Jeez, a lot of subliminal. Like I even got a Taylor Swift shirt on today. Look at this.
I'm telling you, man. People, listen. People know that you're the big Taylor Swift fan. We get it and we support it, but also now YouTube knows. The algorithm knows. So now,
does it?
Every time you do the thumbs up, it's just going to pop up because it just knows. Swifty anything, automatic thumbs up, just the way it's going to be. It's going to be fun.
Fair. Yeah. That's good. That's good.
In my notes, because I always make a little, I make here and there notes, I accidentally wrote it was January 17th. So let's not talk about that. But other than that, it was a nice weekend. The wrestling wrestled, but also it was a busy one. Father's Day came and went. Did you get to do anything with your 50 million kids?
What did we do? We played a lot of badminton. So that's we got a new badminton net set up in the backyard. So we played a lot of badminton. I gotta show these kids sometimes, Joel. Sometimes you gotta pop out and show kids that you're still good at the badminton. 7th grade badminton champion right here. So the kids get a little high horse up there, and I gotta wind up and not a little drop shot on them. They're not preparing for that. Tear my ACL a little bit. That's fine. It happens. But yeah.
Did you not wear shoes again? Were you wearing slides again?
No, I always wear the slides. I don't listen, God forbid I listen to anybody.
Yeah, the only thing you ever have to do is just wear a pair of shoes and you might go through this unscathed. I don't want you to be like Asuka, dropping footage of her going under the knife. She didn't drop footage of the actual surgery, but I love Kana-chan. I love her channel because she drops the best content in the weirdest times. So she dropped the update on her knee injury. So she got surgery. We knew about that, but now she dropped a little vlog and just has subtitles and it's fine. And it was about her hospital visit. And she's like, this is my second surgery. I've never had a leg surgery and been unable to walk. She's like, I'm uncomfortable. This sucks, but I'll be okay. And it's nice. It's good to see that she's very optimistic about it.
I'm literally writing this article right now. So good on Asuka. Hopefully she recovers well, comes back strong. Knee surgeries always seem to suck.
Yeah, they do. So saw that big old brace in that video. She's definitely got a lot of bandage going on, but hopefully it's a quick recovery, speedy one. And we send our love to Asuka. So looking forward to when she's back. I do want to send condolences to indie wrestler Zoe Lucas. She is a UK wrestler that I've met a couple of times, been very lucky to have a couple conversations offline with her. But unfortunately, this weekend, she lost her partner, James Stacey, also known as James Castle. He passed away. He had been battling cancer for many years, as far as I remember. And unfortunately, we lost him this weekend, but we sent our love to Zoe. Because like I said, I've been lucky to have a couple chats with her. She always spoke highly about James. I never met the man, unfortunately, but every conversation I ever had with Zoe on and offline, very, very friendly, very positive. So send our love to Zoe and the family of James Stacey.
Yes. RIP to James Castle, James Stacey, and hopefully everyone is doing well. The family and Zoe Lucas. Yeah, I think it was 7 years he was battling. I think Zoe said, which he was wrestling through part of that as well. He kind of stopped wrestling in 2019, according to Cage Match Records. So it seemed like pandemic might have slowed things down a little bit as well. But yeah, he was wrestling through it. He was still undergoing chemo and everything. So it's always a tough independent. Canadian independent wrestler Scott Henson also passed away this weekend. So tough weekend.
Yeah, it sucks when we lose anyone in the sphere, especially ones that are beloved and ones that are well respected. So send our love to those families, and we send our love to the people who were fans of those people, those humans. So we're looking forward to this show. Let's move forward with this show. Let's talk about this show.
There was wrestling this weekend.
Allegedly, Joe. There was wrestling. Now,
yeah, allegedly. Good call,
Jeremy Lamberts. I want to start by saying I was right.
You were.
No. Not. Let me finish.
No, I know what you're talking about.
You do.
Yeah.
Okay.
3
months ago on the show, we had a mock draft.
Yeah.
Sean Ross Sapp was here. For those who may have missed it, I battled Sean Ross Sapp in a mock draft, and I drafted the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, the Unholy Alliance, Alba Fire, and Isla Dawn. And Jeremy and Sean started laughing. Ha ha ha, ho ho ho, hee. You're so wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. And Jeremy, I proved you all wrong last night. I had time traveled when we did that draft.
2 days.
2 days? Whatever. Wednesday. Yeah. What was it? Saturday, the show? Whatever. I time traveled. And I made sure that when I did that draft, I knew that the women's tag titles were coming home to Glasgow.
What's hilarious, I don't know what's hilarious, but the moment they won, you tweeted, I told you this in April, or 3 months ago. I tweeted, Joel called this in April. On my timeline, right on top of each other. My tweet and then your tweet. The timeline aligned perfectly, that we were both on the same page of you being right about that. That's why when you said I was right, I knew what you were referencing. I knew it wasn't the CM Punk thing. I knew
that was a given.
The WWE. Yeah,
that was a given. Yeah, sure. We'll get into that. That's more that's a different story. That's a longer term story. Again, unfortunately, with loss, we had a little bit more this past week, where Alba Fire's mom, who was visiting her in Florida, she came to visit, and she had gotten into an incident with another vehicle and succumbed to her injuries. So Alba Fire unfortunately, she had lost her mother, and this, when it happened, definitely put some question marks as to whether or not they would participate in the match. Clearly, she decided to go through with that and participate in the match.
Well,
go ahead.
Her mom's passing happened a little while ago. The news just came out like this past week.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So that's worth noting. So regardless, it's difficult when you lose a parent.
Yeah. The news came out this past week. The accident actually happened a month ago.
Okay.
I just want to clarify.
No, thank you for clarifying, because this doesn't take away from the point that I'm making, because grief comes in very different shades, and it also comes in, and I'm going through it myself, and Jeremy has also been going through it himself, and this is something we both discussed publicly. So thank you for clarifying. So for anyone, it's anyone could have taken the opportunity to either do the match or not do the match. And in this case, Alba Fire decided she would do the match, and that's great. Listen, I'm just glad that things happened, glad that the match happened, and that we have our tag team champions, and I was right. That's really what we're getting at here.
Congratulations on being right on this, Joel. We'll see what they do with the titles. I mean, they haven't cared about these titles. So.
No, they haven't. That's why I was so okay with them winning them, because I figured if you're going to have 3 people go to Scotland, 3 Scottish wrestlers go to Scotland and wrestle, you can't go 0 for 3. And this was the only one that made the most sense with losing any sort of momentum on any of the other titles. Piper Niven winning against Bayley could have done it, but there was no build to that. There was no reason to do it other than she's Scottish, which for the main women's championship couldn't do that. For Drew, there was a story there, but you and I are going to talk about that and what it means or what it doesn't mean. That once Isla and Alba won the tag titles, I said, well, that solidifies things for Drew. He ain't winning tonight.
See, I saw a lot of people do that, and I kind of thought it didn't matter that much, because Triple H loves to be praised for his decision making. He loves getting the old pat on the back.
And if he doesn't, he'll do it himself until you make sure it was done by him.
Yeah. So I thought, like, okay, they won. Alba and Isla. That's good. This doesn't change anything for the main event for me. He still wants the big pat on the back of Drew winning. Guess he didn't. Guess I was wrong. Guess he didn't care that much about the old big pat on the back. He gets it enough. Maybe, good on Triple H. He got tired of getting all the congratulations. He said, let's see what it looks like when I'm not getting a congratulations. The story never finishes, Joel.
Did we watch the same post-show press conference?
I mean, he still gave himself some congratulations. That's true. But
yeah. Hey,
would have been more. Would have been more had Drew won.
Maybe, but maybe not. Let's
maybe 100% would have.
No, because then the question would have been like, when are you coming to WrestleMania in Scotland? And then it's like, what? Why are we doing this now? Why? Someone already asked that question. You had a good time at the OVO Hydro. Why are you going to come to? Sorry, I'm going to stop doing the accents for a minute. People were asking when are you going to come to the bigger venues? And the same answer every time. It's like, yeah, we would love to. If you pay enough money, we'll come. That's basically what they need to say. Barry Horowitz shirt would be perfect for Triple H.
I'm glad Muscle and Fitness got their question in.
But it wasn't, the question wasn't bad. It was a little like, can we raw wrestlers for a minute? But like, at least it wasn't, what's up, player? How does it feel to be you? You're the best. It was
what's up, legend?
What's up, legend? Instead, it was, and we can get into the presser and stuff like that. And I do, because the CM Punk stuff was very interesting. The idea of wrestlers like running their bodies through the ringer every single night, or at least more frequently than some other sports, like that deserves a little bit more praise than what's been given. And granted, in the mainstream, it's getting more of it because people have realized the athleticism involved in wrestling. The idea of, oh, it's that fake shit doesn't permeate the same way it used to. People know what it is. So I think being able to pat yourself on the back for that, there are worse questions to be asked. And I didn't hate the question as much.
No, that one was fine. Was that Muscle and Fitness who asked that? I don't remember who asked what question. Okay.
Yeah, it was because it was all about bodies and the way bodies work and how in wrestling people, work their bodies really hard. And the Damian Priest spot, how is he? All that stuff kind of rolled into the question / let's pat ourselves on the back about how wrestling is a lot more than people give it credit for.
All right, that one was fine. Somebody did ask, like, oh, when Scotland coming to WrestleMania? I don't remember half these questions, honestly, because none of them stood out as important or newsworthy. No offense to anybody. They didn't. And so I don't remember who asked what, because I was just like, this isn't all that telling.
Yeah.
I love that CM Punk told the same story he's already told about, I don't want to say who said it. Dude, you said who said it like a month ago at the WrestleMania kickoff. It was Big E. Big E told that to him. But now he's like, I don't want to say who actually said it.
Okay. I honestly didn't remember that it was Big E. So when he said I left him on red, I was just like, who could it be and who would care?
Well, it's Big E. Sorry to spoil. I don't know. He literally told the story on the WrestleMania kickoff show because I did write that article.
Well, that takes watching the WrestleMania kickoff show, which honestly, most of the people who are watching the WrestleMania kickoff show are probably also watching the presser. But how many people are watching both, frequently? I didn't watch the WrestleMania kickoff show.
Me.
2 hours of nothing is still nothing. And I'm not spending time doing nothing.
I'm here for all of you to watch all of this.
Good on you. I appreciate that.
Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
So CM Punk says, he says, I don't want to share who says all of this. I don't want to share who said, like, oh, I'm glad you're here to see the change that you caused. That's what he said. Glad you're here to see the change that you caused. But he didn't want to share who it was with. So at the WrestleMania kickoff show, he says, having a private conversation with Big E. And then he's going to publicly say all this. What is this man doing? And then he shares the same conversation of like, I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here to see all that you have created and everything. Glad CM Punk's back. He created all this. He created this change. Triple H, by the way, tried to make him see this change years ago, but they just didn't see eye to eye in the best way. So it's kind of CM Punk doing this, but it's also really, this is what Triple H always envisioned. And CM Punk just went about it the wrong way years ago, but now he's going about it more the right way. Thanks to Triple H. Thank you, Triple H.
See, his guidance brought back CM Punk, and we should all thank Triple H for CM Punk's return to WWE. Nothing else caused CM Punk's return to WWE. Nothing. CM Punk was sitting at home doing absolutely nothing, wasn't working anywhere, wasn't doing anything. There was no Saturday television wrestling program that was based around his employment. No, CM Punk needed to come back, and Triple H needed to be the one to make it happen.
He made the video package for Collision, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No,
what do you mean? Did you not watch Collision?
No. Well, yes, he did, but also I'm clearly being very sarcastic.
I would believe that you didn't watch Collision. I mean, I didn't go to the show. I had the opportunity to.
Yeah. I watched bits and pieces. I'll be honest. I didn't watch all 2 hours. I was wrestled out by Friday night because I had to. Well, by Saturday night. I had to because I covered TNA. We'll do a little bit, but other than that, yeah, I watched Clash of the Castle, and then I was watching a little bit of Collision here and there. But I also wanted some downtime.
Joel Pearl confirmed, not a sicko.
I mean, did you see that T-shirt? Not for the sickos.
Wait, they made a T-shirt? I mean, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, they made a for the sickos T-shirt that just looks like they took a dirty car windshield. Yeah, you haven't seen this shit?
No,
ain't great. Ain't great.
I saw the Mama Wayne shirt. Like, who the fuck is wearing that outside
shout out
of
to Mel Coleman?
Reg?
Mel Coleman shirts. I saw that design a month or two ago. Her and I were chatting about it.
Okay, I see the For the Sickos shirt. It's very like, what is this? It's just very basic.
Yeah. No, well, sickos are basic. That's what they're trying to tell you.
I guess it looks like a homeless man with a cardboard sign. Like, you know, he's holding up For the Sickos. Please send wrestling matches. You know what I mean? Please help my family. Can't afford sicko wrestling matches. Please send. Please help. Any help gives.
Yeah, it looked to me like a very dirty car windshield being drawn into.
Oh, okay. I can see that. Yeah, I like my cardboard box sign a little bit better.
I like mine. I like mine because wrestling fans are dirty and never shower, just like people who don't take their cars through the car wash.
I literally just call them homeless, Joel.
That's not good. They're called unhoused people.
Unhoused.
People experiencing homelessness.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's wearing this stuff? So Mel Coleman did the Mama Wayne shirt. That's good. It wasn't AI. I was, a little concerned.
Listen, I'm hoping to God that she didn't get her work taken from her and reestablished in AI. But it looks a lot like the designs that she shared with me when she was working on it.
I don't know who's wearing these shirts. Like, who's wearing that in?
To me, that was always, that particular design was like a poster, and that would be a great poster because it looks very like 80s influence.
Yeah, poster. I can see. Shirt. That's something you keep in your room. Like, you keep in your room. You put the poster up and everything. Wearing that thing outside, I don't know.
Yeah, listen, it takes special wrestling fan to wear a special kind of gear.
Have you seen the flamingtext.com shirts for Timeless Tony Storm?
No, but nothing surprised me. Oh, maybe I did actually see this.
It just says chin, tits,
yes.
shoe.
I did see this. Who's going to wear that? I don't know who's going to wear that.
It's like 3D text. Again, they just went to flamingtext.com. Shout out to that website. Everyone used to make all their eFed graphic banners on flamingtext.com, and they just printed that and put this on a t-shirt.
can't believe that of all the things that they could have done, they spent so much time with that story, and we praised it, rightfully so. But this is the type of merch work they're doing with it. Can't believe it. Anyway, hey, speaking of work that we do, leave a thumbs up on the video because we work really hard to do this show and to bring you the best morning content available. And of course, subscribe to us here at Fightful Overbooked. If you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Content drops daily, and a super chat goes a long way. Any amount, get your question or statement read on the air. Glassdoor Gamer, I know who you are. I appreciate you. Saying ITW is better than Busted Open. Clash at the Castle was awful. That's just like your opinion, man.
Was Clash at the Castle awful?
I didn't hate it. I quite enjoyed the show. I could there were lulls in the show.
People hated that finish. Let's talk about that finish.
People are silly. Do you want to start with that? Let's start with that. Drew McIntyre does not win the World Heavyweight Championship. Drew drops the decision. Is he screwed? No, I don't think so. But Damian Priest retains his World Heavyweight title. CM Punk ran out. They did the referee replacement spot. They mopped it up by having socials post the video of Punk getting the referee shirts, stealing it from Jessica Carr. That backstabbing Jezza. I don't think she knew what it was about. But anyway, she gave him the referee.
Why'd she give him the shirt, though?
Because he asked for it. And he's also
just
very
being kind.
Just very kind.
Okay.
CM Punk really loves only interacting nicely with women. Seems to be his thing. You ever notice that?
He should have traded a Starbucks gift card for it. That would have been hilarious. I'll give you this gift card here.
Here's $10 to Starbucks. Here.
Yeah.
Give me the shirt. So Punk comes out. They do the long shot of someone running down the aisle, and of course the back shot of the referee coming in. It's
back shots. Mason Mansour weren't there.
No, but they were backstage at AEW Collision, as reported by FightfulSelect.com. Best $5 in the business. Instead, they did trade you the donuts for the shirts. Sorry, got sidetracked. And he does the 2 count, and then they catch the spot. He gets up and he does and again he does the 2, which in British slang that's the FU. And it's also the callback to the meme that Drew posted about the WrestleMania moment. And anyway, it was very clever and it was very cute and I liked it. And again, going back to the conversation, Jeremy, you and I kept having about what this story is, it is not about the World Heavyweight Championship. This is about who is the king of pettiness. And on Saturday, CM Punk went all the way to Scotland to petty up on Drew McIntyre, cost him the match. I liked it. I know the crowd didn't, but I don't give a shit what the crowd wants. They can do anything. I felt bad for Samantha Irvin, but I don't give a shit about what the crowd wants. They reacted as they should.
People who have watched this show, people who have watched Spotlight know that I was very in on Drew winning. I thought it would be a big mistake if Drew lost. I still think it was a mistake not to have Drew win. Do I understand the story? Yes. Do I think they did it very well? Yes. Was I actually invested in this match to where I was upset that Drew lost? Absolutely not. I thought it was hilarious that they screwed this man over in his hometown. You guys know me. Nothing's going to pop me more than dumb wrestling decisions, which means it was probably bad. I thought this was stupid. I thought it was stupid that they had him lose. He should have won this match. But I get the story. I do. I can recognize that I think this decision was very dumb, and I think they risk the crowd turning on. I mean, the crowd turned on in the moment. The thing is it's not going to be known how much the crowd hates it because they ain't going back to Scotland for like 3 years. And 3 years from now, they're still going to sell out that building, most likely, because it'd been 3 years since they've been there. So I don't think it's going to have an adverse effect on like business in Scotland or anything. I still think it was a dumb decision, but I respect the story. I respect the pettiness of CM Punk to fly all the way over there and just waiting for an opportunity to screw this man. How did he know the ref was going to be taken out? How did he know that Jessica Carr was going to be back there and just ready to hand him an official shirt? Maybe he can see the future. I don't know. But
I did.
He bided his time. He waited for his opportunity. He saw it. He ran. He cashed in on his opportunity to screw Drew McIntyre. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate at the press conference, he was asked, why didn't you let Drew win so you could take the title from him? And he said, I don't want this man to have anything nice. I don't want him to have the title. He said, I don't care that he hurt me. Things happen. It's wrestling. I get it. But when he celebrates that, when he said, I prayed for that, that's when we got issues now. The story is there. I like it. I like the story that they are telling with this. CM Punk constantly screwing over Drew McIntyre, not wanting him to have anything nice. Drew McIntyre having to possibly find a way to have something nice. Maybe he wins Money in the Bank. Now, can you tell a different story by putting the title on Drew? You know, I pitched CM Punk actually having egg on his face here, and you do the Brett Shawn Undertaker SummerSlam where he's going to cock back the chair and he hits Priest with it. I guess chair shots can't be taken back for the boys. I don't know, but something like that.
But steel step spots can.
Yeah. So something like that, and then Punk has to reluctantly count the pinfall or anything like that. They love rehashing angles from 20 years ago. They could have done that. Could you have done something like that? Yes. And then the story becomes CM Punk was so consumed with Drew McIntyre that he let that hatred get in the way, and then he cost Damian Priest. And then you set up Punk and Priest down the line as well, along with Punk and Drew. Could you have done that? Yes. Could Drew have just won and then Punk still targets him? Yes. There were other ways to go about the story with Drew winning. That's where I thought they were going to go. That's where I thought they should have gone, because I thought Drew should have won. But I'm fine with this. I get it. It makes sense to me.
On the Punk injury front, WrestleVotes just tweeted, as of last week's Raw roster sheet, CM Punk's official return date was set at the end of July. I'm told he likely won't be cleared for action by Money in the Bank on July the 6th, but he should be ready for SummerSlam. So again, it's WrestleVotes. They have been pretty good. This isn't me, this is just adding color to our conversation, because some people in the chat are discussing, Punk at Money in the Bank and things like that. Seems like that's not necessarily the case. Punk also came out at the press conference.
Yeah, Punk is at the press conference. He said he hopes to be cleared this week, and that he'll make the announcement on SmackDown that he'll be cleared this week. Now, just because he's cleared, does that mean he's going to immediately wrestle? No. Just because he's cleared, does that mean he's going to be in Money in the Bank? No, he said it himself.
Seems like
I don't want to do no ladder matches. I don't want to do a Hell in a Cell match. You don't want to do this dumb shit. I get it. More power to him. So his first match back might be SummerSlam. I'd have him do a live event. I'd have him do a Raw match or something just to, get through, get him. He hasn't wrestled. You think about, if he doesn't wrestle until SummerSlam, that's early August, he would have had 5 matches. I guess he wrestled a few on Collision in mid-August, and then he wrestled at All In. But he's wrestled 3 WWE matches, 2 against Dom at live events, and then the Rumble. That's it. So let's say 6 matches, low estimation, for a year if he doesn't wrestle until SummerSlam. And I'm counting 3 AEW matches on top of 3. I don't even know if he had 3 AEW matches. I would be correct. He wrestled CM Punk and Starks was August 5th. And then he had a couple others after that. So maybe 7 matches in the past year. Not a lot. And 1 this total year.
Well, there you go. Put him in the ladder. No, don't put him in the ladder match. Just give him more matches with Dominic Mysterio. It's fine. People will be all into that. Dom just came back from injury, so he can help CM Punk, get over his triceps while Dom is dealing with getting over his Tommy John. I don't masturbate.
Surgery.
Non-surgery. You just rehabbed it, right?
Yeah.
Good. They help each other out. Everyone's trying to get over something. Liv Morgan's trying to get over Dominic Mysterio. She just has trouble getting on top.
I think she's trying to get under Dominic.
That's true. Or on top. Because anyway, not the point. We're going to talk about that later. Put him in a Hell in a Cell. That actually feels like what they will do last with Punk and Drew.
Yeah, they ain't.
Just give him a Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
And he's going to want the purple titty treatment.
No, Punk ain't going through that.
No, probably not. He's like, I'm not the guy anymore. It's fine. I know why I'm here. Give me my millions of dollars to be King Petty, and I'm all for it. I do want to put over the World Heavyweight Champion, Damian Priest, because I thought he performed really well in this match. I thought that spot in the ropes that everyone's talking about, he got himself caught up trying to do a tope, and he unfortunately ate shit, but he was okay. And by all accounts, seems like he's gonna be fine, which is wonderful. But to me, this felt like a sink or swim title defense for him because the Jey Uso match wasn't the best, and there were a lot of eyes on him as champion. It wasn't as good, and this was an opportunity for Damian Priest to really shine, not only as champion but also as the guy who was going to get the most heat in Scotland, and he did, and he played it well. I thought that this was a big win for Damian Priest. He came out looking stronger than he did coming into it, and got the win. So what do you think of Priest now? What's next for Priest other than, a potential L to Gunther at SummerSlam?
He's going to face Gunther. That's going to be, I don't want to say a tough sell because it's not, but you're looking at two heels here with Gunther and Priest. So I'm very curious what the story actually is between them. I mean, it's just Gunther. He won the King of the Ring, so he's owed a title shot, but you got to give me a little bit more off of that. Priest being everybody thought I was going to be a transitional champion and I'm still here. I'm not sold on that being a great sell for this actual match. Like, all right, good. Glad you proven yourself. Like, I can spin that and be like, well, you needed Judgment Day help to beat Jay. You needed CM Punk help to beat Drew. So, like, are you really a fighting champion? I guess maybe that's the story they maybe want to tell. I feel like there's still a lot more at play before we get to SummerSlam when it comes to Judgment Day, because you have the Dom, Liv, Finn stuff. So I don't know if they're going to jump immediately into that story with Gunther. But Priest, he deserves a lot of accolades for going through that match, finishing that match. It looked rough. He was clearly favoring his leg the rest of the match. He made it through. I'm glad it's not as bad as it could have been, because it would have been something if they did all that, screwed over Drew, and then Priest just shows up tonight. He's like, oh, by the way, I'm out 6 months, got to vacate this title. That wouldn't have been very good. So glad he's okay. And I assume he'll at least take some time off wrestling wise, because that would be the smart thing to do, but he'll still be on the show as the champion.
He was asked immediately at the presser. Again, shout out to the person who immediately jumped into, hey, how's your leg feeling? And, Priest was like, I don't know. I haven't gone to medical yet. I wanted to talk to you guys. So I do appreciate that someone actually asked, because, there have been times where people just kind of let it go and assume that he's not okay. But
I think McCarthy, by the way, well, I do actually remember this because I wrote an article on it. Alex McCarthy was the one who asked Priest how his leg was.
Good on Alex McCarthy. Love our Drew McIntyre. The irony of the situation.
He had to be so sad.
He must have been. I'm sure he was singing with whatever Drew was singing at the end of the night. What song do you think he should have been singing? I asked Corey Brennan. Apparently he did not sing a song at the end of the night.
Nah, he was pissed. He left.
He should have sang Tub Thumping by Chumbawamba. I get knocked down, but I could take a whiskey drink. I take a vodka drink. I drink some iron brew. I drink some haggis drink. And then that's the song, right? In Scotland.
I don't know. Is it?
No, it was probably.
Okay.
Probably. But anyway, that was the way. That was Drew. Drew dropped it. Drew lost it, and Damian Priest looked good in defeat. So onward and upward through Money in the Bank. Does he have a title defense?
Damian Priest won.
Yeah. Did I say defeat?
Yeah, you said he looked good.
Too many D's. I'm working with too many D's here. Drew looked good in defeat. Damian looked good in victory. There it is.
Throw some D's on that bitch.
Too many to count. Thank you for the correction. I want to talk about Sami and Gable. Chad Gable, who confirmed to the Gorilla Press podcast. Gorilla Position, GP.
Gorilla Position. Yeah.
Position.
Gorilla Position.
Too many podcasts. There need to be fewer podcasts. Fair. He confirmed that he did re-sign a contract with WWE. It's big news. It's a good deal. He likes where his direction is going. Chad Gable sticks around. Chad Gable loses. his Intercontinental Championship match. 7th time losing that opportunity. But yeah, he just keeps losing.
7?
70th. 80th?
I think it was his 5th.
80th. Loses for the 80th time in a row, Jeremy Lambert. He's just a big loser, that Chad Gable. Sami Zayn retains. Your thoughts?
Good match. I did think Chad was going to win. He did not. You know, Otis helped Maxine, and then Chad got distracted. At some point, Chad's got to win, but I guess the creeds will help him. I just don't know how Chad earns another title shot. Like, he is kind of positioned as a loser now. What's he do to earn another title shot? Just beat up Sami Zayn, and Sami's like, fine, one final time?
No. They're in Corpus Christi, Texas tonight.
That sucks.
Chad Gable comes out in a pink jacket, okay, a pink suit. And he says, I don't think I can do this anymore, guys. I don't think I have much in. I think I need to retire. Guys, Alpha Academy, I want to apologize. Sami Zayn, come out here. You were the better man last night. Whoa-pow! And then we do another match.
What the hell was that?
Whoa-pow!
That was like George Lopez.
Was it?
Yeah.
Seems bad.
It was very George Lopez-esque. Oh,
no, that just feels racist. Anyway.
That's what you did.
Yeah, whatever. He says Chad's got lots left in the tank. And now we're going to do Chad versus Sami 6.
Oh, all right. Sure.
No pink suits?
No.
We're in Texas. Come on.
I get it. Like, I understand why you were calling for this, but no, we're not doing this.
It's super original. No one's ever done that, at least not in common era, right? No one.
Well, that doesn't lead to a victory though, because Mark Henry lost and AJ Styles lost. So that's a loser segment right there.
Then it's time to break the chain, Jeremy Lambert. Somebody comes out and they want to do the thing. This will be the first time it works. Sami Zayn's gonna eat a big ol' L because of that, just to set a precedent.
What if Chad Gable just wins like a tournament or something?
Yeah, that could work. Honestly, so I started thinking, there's a part of me that thinks that Maxine's going to kick Otis in the dick and side with Chad Gable in the end. But also, there's the other part of me that's like, Ivy Nile and the Creeds just replacing the entirety of Alpha Academy, leveling them up. That's the story that should be told. But then I still think Maxine has... I thought that she was actually really effective in the match. I thought that she was really good and she's been selling well. She's been a really good actress throughout this whole thing. And she's getting better as a wrestler, which has been talked about as well. So like, I don't want her to get lost in the shuffle as this whole thing continues, because obviously Otis and Gable are the primary, people in this orbit. But like Maxine's there too. And she can't just be used as the damsel in distress, because that's how they're playing her up right now. I want to see more for her, and I would like to see that be her character moment. She sides with Gable, and Otis is just left to look like an idiot and have to fight.
Why are you doing Otis like that?
Because it's time. It's time for him to get paid back for all that time with Mandy. She was too good for him or something.
Why are you doing Otis like that? Otis is such a nice, sympathetic guy, and you're just
That's
like,
why.
The hot girl screws him over.
It's just like high school. Just like
be better than this, Joel. Why can't he get the girl?
Because once in a while the girl goes with somebody else.
That's mean.
Not every story ends with a fairy tale ending. Sometimes reality hits hard.
Well, I know not every story ends with a fairy tale ending. Tommaso Ciampa loses all the time.
There you go. He tends to really, really lose that fairy tale ending attempt. But Chad Gable, does he just pick up the Creeds and Ivy Nile and move on, and everyone else?
He has to.
Notice it has to be.
Well, he has to at least pick up the Creeds. I don't know. I kind of like your idea with Maxine staying with Gable and it being like sleazeball jock still gets the girl, and she just is, like, he's a shitty person, but he's the champion and he's my shitty person. I can change him. Maybe one day I can change him. I like that. I can see that. He's got to get the creeds though. They've been doing the backstage teases and talks and everything. He clearly Otis ain't working for him. Tozawa wasn't even there. Where was he in all of this? He's got to get the creeds. He's got to win the title. He can't lose the title. He can't lose anymore. The next time needs to be the last time. He's got to win. And I don't know how you get to the title shot unless they just give it to him. Like, sure, whatever. But it doesn't feel like you can just, hey, here's one last title shot for you. Maybe he sells this as, I had one more chance. If I don't beat you, I'll never ask for another title shot again. No Otis at ringside. Otis is actually costing me. No Maxine. No Tozawa. These losers keep costing me. I don't want them at ringside. And then Sami Zayn just fighting champion baby faces. Like, all right, fine. One more shot. When I beat you, you never get another title shot. Is that the greatest setup in the world? No, but it's wrestling.
I'm trying to think of a way that they can get to this title shot without making it sound so convoluted or having Sami look like babyface idiot. There are very few ways to get there.
He can win. You just win a battle royal, win a mini tournament, or whatever.
I think I'd rather Sami say we're going to do it in a cage or do it somewhere. And if you lose, you never get another shot. Whatever, as long as I'm champion.
No cage matches, because if the creeds are going to interfere, I hate cage matches with interference. It's stupid.
Fair. That's fair. So make it a lumberjack match.
That sounds dumb.
Yeah.
Why would you do lumberjack matches?
Because you put everyone around the ring and then everyone thinks that the creeds are going to help Sami. And then they end up beating up Sami the worst.
I quit. No, I quit.
No, I quit matches. This is the problem, is that you can't really do many, if any, gimmick matches because this isn't, I don't know if it's there yet. Or again, the stipulation should be as simple as, be nobody at ringside. And if I lose, I'll never challenge for the Intercontinental Championship again as long as Sami Zayn's a champion. Put something on the line. And you can't do career anymore. Well, you can't put career anymore because now it's established, at least to those who know, that you've resigned.
Okay, what about Raw career? What about Raw? He just says, if I lose, I'll go to SmackDown. I'll go to NXT. Go to Level Up.
Yeah, you'd probably have to make it. You can't make one brand sound lesser if you do a loser leaves gimmick.
I don't think the brand sounds lesser. It's just I just won't be here anymore.
If I lose, I'm going to TNA.
Oh, that makes things sound less.
Well, after the way that show happened, QR code popped up. May as well get into the conversation of the thumbnail. Jeremy, allegedly.
Yeah, this thumbnail surprised me. I was like, what? Huh? Why is this the thumbnail?
So when we popped on before the show, Jeremy was like, what's the deal with this? And I said, you know what? The original thumbnail, I'll even show it to you what the original thumbnail was, because Jeremy hasn't seen this.
I will it was like that. It was that.
No, actually, because everyone was using it. And I was like, I don't want to use the same, but I wanted it to be the Drew and Punk stuff. So I'd originally done this.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, okay, this is okay. I had to do a little, photoshopping and all that stuff. But then I was like, no, let's do Wyatt 6 stuff, because the report had dropped on FIFA Select, and it sounds like this is possibly, happening as early as tonight if the QR codes are to be believed. And of course, they've been dropping hints all throughout. So I was like, you know what? Let's look a little forward, because this might be a new beat in a story. One of the things that happened was in the QR codes, there was a reference to a CG. And that got people wondering, who is the CG? Is it Chelsea Green? Is it Chad Gable? Who could it be? Is it Corey Glover from the band? Well, no.
Why wouldn't you use Corey Graves?
Could be Corey Graves. I was going for Corey Glover from oh my God, why did I just do that? Living Color, the band that does CM Punk's theme. It's Corey Graves. Okay. Yeah, they're gonna take out Corey Graves.
What if it's just like caregiver?
Oh, who's the caregiver? I thought Wendy Lucho was the caregiver. No, but seriously.
Maybe. All right, here's what it needs to be, okay? The countdown clock ends, blah, 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 whatever. I know it's supposed to end during Raw.
They do the Jericho. Did you crack the code? Save us, Y2J.
Stop.
No, okay.
Lights go down. Lights go down.
As they
All
should.
right. And then you just hear bung, 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 bung. Dear Adonis, I'm sorry that man is your father. Let me be honest.
I was waiting. I knew you would see that, and I knew you would go there. Oh, I knew you were going to do a Meet the Grams reference. I knew it. Knew it. So
that's what it should be. That's what it should be.
I was so sure.
Just Uncle Howdy rapping Meet the Grams. That's all I want.
There's like five.
It's Uncle Howdy, and then he's got Rowan. He's speaking to Rowan. Maybe that, dear Rowan, I'm sorry that man is your father. And then he's got Nikki as the mom, and then he's got who else is in this? He's got
Dexter
Joe
Loomis.
Gacy.
Okay,
Joe Gacy.
Loomis, yeah.
Okay, Joe Gacy, Dexter Loomis. Dexter Loomis is the dad, is Drake's dad, and Alexa Bliss is the child that he's been hiding. This is what we need.
This feels wrong because that means that his great grandfather, because Alexa's had a kid.
Well, fine. Nikki can be the hidden child. Alexa can be the mom because
Sure.
Alexa can be the mom since her and Bray were together, right?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Bliss Cross Applesauce are back to win the tag titles from the Spooky Witches, who are no longer Spooky Witches.
Bray is, I guess, Drake in this, and that's why I don't
think you should try to use Bray and Drake in this one. This is nothing good will come of this. Maybe drop it. You had it, and then you just no. Uncle, he's going after Clark Gable.
Clark Gable, sure.
This whole thing is months of anticipation for many. A lot of people have been following the QR codes.
I'm so fucking excited.
Michael Cole finally this week on the pay-per-view, or PLE, sorry, we get it right here. He wasn't all like, oh, this shit again. He was actually more spooked out by the QR code, because in the past he's been like, oh, what is this garbage?
Yeah, because the massacre is coming.
Yeah, now it's real. Now it's real spooky. But before he was just being like, this dumb shit off my screen. What's techies doing? But instead, they played it off well. Massacre is coming. Are they going to do an NXT style breakout where they tear up the ring ropes and beat the shit out of someone to end the show and stand tall? Could they do that? That's the Massacre. Better than Retribution. Spray painting.
No.
Chainsaws. Remember the chainsaws?
Yeah.
Chainsaws are great. That was the best part.
I remember all this stuff. Apparently, according to Sean Ross Sapp, let me read the report. Make sure I get accurate reporting here.
Yes, FightfulSelect.com, the best $5 in the business, where we get these information we share.
Yes. Okay. We've asked around about the upcoming stable and how it will play. We're told that it's obviously been in the works for quite some time, and that WWE thinks there's a real chance to work with something. We'll work with modern wrestling. There were hints at the Bray documentary that they needed to do something to make Bray proud. In addition, a heavy talking point was that it was often difficult to make the Fiend and Wyatt programs work in the ring. Sources in WWE we spoke to at least claimed that wouldn't be an issue, and there doesn't appear to be supernatural elements as currently planned or presented. That's fucking stupid. Why wouldn't they have supernatural elements? What do you mean we're going to make this work in the ring? Who gives a fuck about them wrestling in the ring? That was not why Bray Wyatt was a genius. He was a genius because he didn't wrestle, because he was on a higher level of thinking than everybody else. He was smart. He didn't even take bumps. He was like, you take this bump, brother Bo. I ain't taking this damn thing. I don't want them wrestling. I think that's dumb. I think that's completely idiotic. Idiots, imbeciles, stupid idiots, worthless idiots.
All right, Brad,
Knock it off.
I get it.
Don't do that.
No,
I don't want them wrestling. I want them doing the dumbest shit possible. Set people on fire. Do the bloodbath. They said a massacre is going to happen. That's what should happen. That's how this should happen. They do whatever the ending of Raw is. I don't know. Liv and Dominic are going to get married for all I care. That's Raw's ending tonight. Red wedding. All these people. Just
what does everyone
death.
love bringing up the red wedding as if it's like the be all end all of everything, and that it needs to be
a good scene.
It was a good scene, but not everything needs to be the red wedding.
Why? It's good.
I think it's just an overused term to get to explain your point.
Fine, Joel. Why don't we use I don't actually want to go with that. What I was gonna say, so I'm not going to say it.
Oh, I'm glad we had this conversation. Wonderful show. See you on Wednesday.
Fine, Joel. Let's go with a Punisher scene. Everybody's at the park playing, and then we just get
the ending of Carrie. Just do that one.
Why? I Carrie. There's no death in that. That's just mutilation. We need murders.
Right, murders. Anyway, murdered my soul. But this is
massacres.
Yeah. I want it to be a crappy ending. That's what I want. I want it to be Otis getting kicked in the balls by Maxine crappy. Not everyone needs a happy ending. And not every
It's not happy they're murdering everybody.
I don't know. I think there are some people who'd be very happy to see these people. That's wrestling, Shades of Grey and all those things, right? Murder is murder schmurder.
How is a murder happiness?
Well, if you watched TNA Impact from this past week, it was all a dream, the murders. They used a guillotine to kill Lisha Edwards, and then it was all a dream. So maybe you do the red wedding, you murk all these people, and then they wake up. It was all a dream, just like wrestling. It was all a dream.
Well, they can't do that now because they've already done it. I don't want to see any of these people wrestle. No offense to them. They're very good wrestlers in this group. I don't want to see them wrestle. They say they want to pay tribute to Bray, and then they're like, oh, but they're going to wrestle. That's not paying tribute to Bray. That's going against everything Bray stood for.
Yeah, if they wanted to pay homage to Bray, they should all come out with giant bottles of Mountain Dew Pitch Black and neon glowing gear. And I'm being totally serious because that was the shit right there. That was the best. That was the best. That was when the family was all last together. That was the moment. Howdy did the thing and all the characters were watching. It'd be good. Yeah. You're not showing your age at all here, but yes, absolutely. A Bobby Ewing Dallas kind of dream. We talking 70s Dallas or 2000s Dallas?
I don't get it.
Young kid.
The only Ewing I recognize is Patrick.
That's not surprising whatsoever. I don't think it's going to be disastrous. I think it's going to be something that gets a lot of people talking. I think the idea of them tearing up the ring, making it a big, I think that's the way it's going to start. I do. I don't think it's going to be a wrestling thing. I beat the shit out of people. They have to listen. At the end of the day, like we said, the bell has to ring. Something has to happen.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Why?
Because it's a wrestling program. Things happen in those. This is the stage.
This is the low level thinking that gets people in trouble, Joel. At some point, the bell has to ring. No, it doesn't. Well, the bell does not have to ring.
But what if it does ring and the match begins? Then what happens?
No, you don't need to do wrestling matches. You don't. Stop giving me wrestling in my sports entertainment. Knock it off.
Maybe they're supposed to be both.
The bell does not have to ring, folks. The bell does not have to ring.
The bell has to ring. That's part of it.
No, it doesn't.
It's part of the wrestling world. It has to ring. Yes.
No.
Yeah.
They never have to wrestle.
No.
Never. You know what would be great? Here's the gimmick.
If they never have to wrestle, they would basically just be pretty deadly.
Fine. Pretty Deadly rules.
They do, except you never see them because they never wrestle.
Here's the gimmick. Maybe they have matches. All right. And by that, I mean the matches are set up, right? But before the bell rings, because who cares about wrestling? Before the bell rings, the lights go out. Okay? The lights go out. And then when they come back on, the person is dead. They should murder people before the bell rings. We need more deaths with this. The person's just laid out. They got the ketchup packet all around and everything. You know, real blood. Not real blood. You can do
Crimey River.
Cody Rhodes says blood belongs in the sports entertainment. So Cody Rhodes is correct. We get the murders out here. It's okay. They're doing kidnappings with the Windy Lucha and stuff. They're doing missing persons and everything. People want to win matches. People want to make each other quit. You want to win deaths.
Yeah, I don't know about the death thing.
It's fake, Joel. It's fake.
It's not fake. It's predetermined, Jeremy.
It's like a movie.
Actually, I've been told that it's no longer it's no longer cinema. It will now be theater.
Good. There's plenty of deaths in Marvel movies, in Spider-Man movies. That's the same thing, right? DC movies. There's deaths in these movies.
Yeah. So you're saying that the Wyatts come back and they murk The Rock because he's in movies.
Yeah.
Okay. What about R-Truth and Miz?
All of them.
But no, come on. R-Truth is like the cockroach. He's never gonna die. He's like TNA. He's like Twinkies after a nuclear war. Just never gonna die. No, you can't. R-Truth is the one person who like needs to be there forever.
Well, as Jane says, some of the characters come back to life. Maybe R-Truth just comes back. Maybe comes back reinvented as K-Quick.
He just no, it doesn't. He's off for 1 week and he just shows up the next week as if nothing happened. Yeah. He's like their Ramblin' Rabbit. Remember, Ramblin' Rabbit would come back every week after Bray murked. Perfect, done. Perfect. Yeah. That's all I need. Good, wonderful. Dom and Liv are Romeo and Juliet. I believe in that. Unfortunately, the ending of Romeo and Juliet is not a happy one.
How does it end, Joel? How does it end?
They're both. That's it.
Don't they end up together?
In a very tragic way, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems fine to me. They end up together.
It's not love though.
Why not? How?
Well, they're no longer with us.
They're with each other. That's what matters.
Yeah, but it's not what matters because they're not with each other in the living realm.
So they're with each other together forever. That's much better.
We don't know about that. We don't know what lies beyond this realm.
Members of the Raw roster should find out when they get killed by the Wyatt Six.
Jesus Christ. Hell of a crossover. Why did we do this? It's 11 o'clock.
We need characters getting offed on this television show.
Liv and Dom are currently working on getting off on TV. It's fine.
I don't want them wrestling. That's all I'm saying.
They're gonna wrestle. It's just the reality of it.
It's not like we haven't had deaths on WWE television before. Everyone comes back, they're fine.
What are they gonna do? They're gonna blow up a limo? Come on.
They can put them in cement. Remember they did that one?
Remember the video came out of the rehearsals from earlier that day?
Oh, yeah.
I remember. I still have that video. No! Undertaker!
Corpus Christi Chainsaw Massacre. It's good.
Jeff Jarrett comes out. He's like, "Oh, brother, that's gimmick infringement. I'll put my title on the line."
Is he going to put that belt on the line? Maybe.
Remember when they gave Jeff Jarrett that belt?
That was ruled.
That's just wild. Was that Jeff Hardy's last match?
No.
It feels so. It doesn't feel that long ago. Anyway, and AJ and Cody. Let's get into that. What are they going to go after?
Why? Why? Who cares about that match?
It happened. Well, you don't like Mama Rose going into business.
That was the best part about it. Mama Rose shooting on AJ with the slaps.
Yeah, she just kind of slap, just went for it. I loved it. Yeah, match was fine. We'll see if we do another one at Money in the Bank. Complete the trilogy.
No, they can't. AJ quit. He's a big old loser.
Yeah, he's a big old baby. But maybe they're gonna have. Remember the tables, ladders, chairs, and stairs pay-per-view? Maybe they have a stairs match. No, those 800-pound stairs come into play.
They can't. They can't do any of that.
We'll see about that. I don't want them to go to it, but I also wouldn't be surprised. You know that every time WWE has come to Toronto and I have been there, Cody has not been on the show. I have never seen the Cody entrance live in WWE. I've seen
what you're saying.
Once.
What you're saying is Cody hates Canada.
It's very possible. Although he did appear on Monday Night Raw Montreal the next night after elimination.
Cody hates Toronto.
That's more like it, because when I went to AEW Grand Slam, when he had the first Grand Slam, when he had a match against, was that Brian Pillman? Or was that the Darby match?
No, that was Malachi.
Was that the first one?
Yeah.
No, that was September 2021. Malachi wasn't there just yet.
Yes, he was.
When did Malachi debut?
Like June or July 2021.
That show was packed with shit.
That was Danielson and Kenny.
Yeah, no, that's why I was there. And then the rest of the show just kind of happened. Anyway, the point is Cody Rhodes. It was a fine show, but it was, was what it was. Anyway, Cody, I've never seen Cody's entrance live. It's very weird to say, other than Grand Slam.
Nah.
Apparently AJ won, but I don't think AJ won at all.
Cody got no pyro.
Nobody got pyro. You couldn't have pyro in that building.
Yeah, is that, I guess, a code thing? Like
I think so. That building is that building's not very big, the Hydro.
Do you think that's why Drew lost? Is they were like, well, we can't give you pyro for your big celebration, so we're just gonna have you lose.
Yeah, and Drew was probably like, all right, that makes sense. And that was it. That was it. He didn't bring it home. He just brought home big L's. No K's.
Cody and AJ happened. It looks like they're doing solo next. I think they're doing a 6-man tag at Money in the Bank. That's my guess.
Yeah, and is that the beginning of that's a lot of guys to take out of a potential Money in the Bank match.
Yeah, but like Orton and Money in the Bank, Owens
probably being part of it. Maybe you
don't need any of the Bloodline people in Money in the Bank. Owens is really the only person you're kind of missing there.
Do you put Solo in Money in the Bank and have have Cody and Randy team up and do the Tongans? No.
You do a 6-man. You gotta make Solo some type of actual threat here. If your long game is Solo and Roman, you gotta actually make Solo a threat in this manner. Him barely escaping Kevin Owens doesn't quite do it for me. Him, barely winning matches, not doing a whole lot for me. And I know it's a tough act to follow with Roman. Like, I think they're trying when it comes to how dominant the Bloodline is, but they got to do a little bit more when it comes to Solo. Like, so I would do the 6-man tag. I'd have Solo win that match. Does he pin Cody? Does he pin Randy? He could easily pin Owens and he'd be fine. But I would have Solo win that match, and I would have Bloodline stand pretty strong off of that. Now, Solo can lose to Cody and not be able to get it done, but you got to put a lot more on Solo.
You do, and they've got a month to do it. I'm wondering. They do. I'm wondering who's going to be a part of Money in the Bank on the men's side, because they have qualifiers coming, but they also have people who have declared. So do the declarees have to also wrestle in qualifiers? Jey Uso, for example, is he in, or are they going to do are they going to give a match to qualify? Should they do Jay versus Kaiser as a qualifier? Actually, they should do Sheamus versus Kaiser as qualifier, quite honestly.
So what? There's 6 people usually for Money in the Bank, so 3 from each brand. Is that what we're gonna do here?
You can do 6, you could do 8, depending on how crazy you want the match to be.
Okay. I don't think you need Owens or Randy or any of those guys in it.
I'm looking at it right now, and it's like the
got
problem.
The talent.
This is very Raw heavy. If we do it, Jay, Kaiser, Sheamus, Santos Escobar, Finn Balor, and then there's a 6th, and maybe it's Kevin Owens, which
Carmelo
I know.
Hayes. Carmelo Hayes.
Hayes is there. I'm a little.
I feel like he's going to be in the match.
I feel like it too, and it feels like he could win, but he has not been doing so great. I'm hoping that he gets a little more out of his main roster, ascent, because it hasn't been the best. His mic work has been a little bit feels like the yips, you know what I mean? He's not the way he used to be in NXT. He's not as comfortable. That's the word. He hasn't been as comfortable. So I'm hoping he gets there. Maybe something like Money in the Bank would do that. That being said, yeah, Hayes declared, you're right. So there you go.
Hayes kind of declared, but then he also mentioned the qualifying matches. This is where you're right, Joel, of can you just declare and you're in? Do you have to win qualifying? My guess is there's gonna be qualifying matches, and like your declarations don't mean shit.
Yeah, pretty much, because I would love a story with they do Sheamus and Kaiser again. Sheamus wins and Kaiser's in, or the other way around. Kaiser finally gets the win. Sheamus is out and he gets upset about that. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. We'll find out on Raw tonight what the actual deal is, but people are saying, Hayes, Uso, Balor, Baron Corbin, Santos, and Rey Mysterio. There's another person. LA Knight's still around. There are spots, but declarations do not necessarily mean invitations. We'll see who's in after the start of tonight's qualifiers.
I think the problem for Hayes is, I'm kind of with Victor that Drew might end up winning Money in the Bank because the story of he hates Money in the Bank, but he sees it's his only way that he can't get screwed over because he can cash in and screw somebody else over.
Do you do another Drew qualifier match and then CM Punk screws him out of that?
Well, Drew knows CM Punk is not there tonight.
So he asked for the match tonight.
Yeah. He's like, I know Punk's not here. Tired of him. Because Drew should be on Pierce's neck tonight. By the way, Wade Barrett was fucking fantastic.
Dude, I have
post-show.
Not just the post show, the first 5 minutes alone of the Intercontinental. Go back and watch the Zayn and Gable match and listen to how you want to talk about on your neck. Wade Barrett and Corey Graves were just recklessly on top of Cole's commentary. Just everything Cole said, those two dogpiled him. It was so friggin' good. It got a little obnoxious, and I think they told him to rein it back a bit, but the start of the match was so good for that shit. It was really good, gotta say.
So I think Drew should be on Pierce tonight of like, what kind of ship are you running around here? How can you let this happen? He just asked for a referee shirt. He gets it, and he's allowed to come out here and do this. Drew should be fuming tonight and fuming at Adam Pearce since he is the authority figure on this show. So I think Drew qualifying, he should do more than like just qualify for this match, by the way. He should honestly kick the shit out of Pearce and be like, you suck as this general manager. But I think Drew qualifying tonight, knowing Punk is not there, makes sense.
Yeah. And then meanwhile, on the women's side, honestly, to me, it feels like it's a Tiffany Stratton victory. Do the pink, Money in the Bank briefcase, and everyone's life goes on. I'm sure Naomi will be a part of it. It feels like a men's Raw winner and a women's SmackDown Money in the Bank winner.
This is a good point. This is a good point by Sean Lindsay.
What's that?
Jessica Carr is probably glad she's a SmackDown referee.
Does
a SmackDown referee have authority to give a Raw person a t-shirt, a referee shirt, and for it to be official?
They can tell that story. I doubt that they will. If anything, Nick Aldis will say, I fined her $1,000. She wasn't supposed to do that.
$1,000?
I don't know. They're referees. They don't make that much. They're $25,000, and they're expense, their cars and stuff. I don't know how much the refs make. I'm just making a point.
Nick Aldis should do nothing, actually. He's like, I don't give a shit what she does. She screwed over a Raw main event. Doesn't bother me.
Exactly. That's the answer right there. It's like, what did she do? Oh, yeah, good for her. Anyway, tonight on SmackDown. That would actually be very funny. Yeah, exactly. A Foot Locker employee should come in and referee the match. That should be it. I'm going to go get a job at Foot Locker just so I can go and be like, I'm a referee. Let me in. And security will be like, go ahead, sir. Yes, sir. That's how it works. I'll get the patches on eBay as well. Oh, anyway, that's all I got from Clash at the Castle, unless you have something you want to add. Bailey and Nia was a fine match. Not Nia, sorry, Bailey and Piper. We're going to Bailey and Nia at SummerSlam.
Yes.
My brain hurts. It's Piper. Yes. See, the match was fine. That's how good it was. So good that I looked forward to SummerSlam.
It's fine.
But good on Piper Niven, because it was a very good match. She actually performed very well as expected. Commentary put her over very much for her work over the years in and out of WWE. It was good. It was good.
It was a fine show. It was about 3 hours, a little over 3 hours, which was unfortunate. But it was good. It was a good show. There was nothing offensive unless you were really set on Drew winning. Then you might have been offended. They set up some stuff coming out of it. I know people get mad of like 5 matches, 3 of them were above average, 2 of them were like good. It's like how it's part of Peacock. You're basically paying $10 for the show. And then you can watch The Office as well. We've got to understand that AEW can't get away with doing something like this when they're charging $50. WWE can, but at the same time, WWE couldn't get away with. I guess they could get away with what AEW does, but I also think WWE would burn out their own audience by doing it the AEW way. Each company is doing what works for them when it comes to a $10 pay-per-view. I was invested in this show because there were at least 3 matches where I didn't know who was going to win. I could surmise that Cody was going to retain and Sami was going to retain, but Sami and Gable felt like a coin flip that it could go either way. Like I thought Jade and Bianca were going to win, and they ended up losing. AJ and Cody winning obviously made sense, but I could theorize AJ winning could make some sense. And then Drew and Priest, that could have gone either way, and they went with Drew losing. So, and it made sense. Like, I was invested in this show from a winner and loser perspective. And invested for me, of course, means I don't really care, and I'm just here to see it play out. But I'm invested in, I want to see what happens when it comes to winning and losing, and not I just want to watch this good wrestling match.
Yeah, and like invested could also mean that you were interested enough to explore options beyond an obvious one. And that goes a long way when you're doing, well, what we do, because easily you can just be like, yeah, listen, so-and-so is going to win, and that's all it is, blah, blah, blah. We didn't really have much of that on this show. Even when you and I talked about the women's tag team titles, I was like, it's a 3-way. They can easily just have Isla and Alba win because it's home and because you've got, they don't have to take a pinfall, do Jade and Bianca. You could just get them out of it like that and then restart whatever between Isla Dawn and Alba Fire and then Jade and Bianca, and we're just back to square one. So for me, that match felt it made a little more sense when I looked at the entirety of it. But other than that, it was just a good show. Things were coin flippable, like you said. And I think the Zayn and Gable match was the one that really cemented that idea. And it played out pretty well too. They had a really good couple of false finishes. Fun show.
Louis says never believed AJ would win, which is fair. Did I truly believe AJ would win? I figured Cody was going to keep the reign, but I could see ways that AJ could have won. And maybe I was just talking myself into Cody doesn't need the title for the entire year, and him losing would be fine. Now, JNA says the show to him was predictable and all fair. However you were feeling going into it is how you were feeling going into it. I'm only telling you how I was feeling.
Yeah, I think most shows with hindsight become predictable, especially the couple days after a show. We'll sit here after Forbidden Door and we'll see if some of these matches play out the way that we'll talk about when we start getting into the Forbidden Door talk. But other than that, yeah, listen, Clash of the Castle was another easy Saturday afternoon wrestling program. In and out. You were done by 5 p.m. Eastern. You did the post shows, then 6, 7. How long was that post show? Did it end
It
after?
was short. It was only like 45 minutes or so.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say because my kid and wife got home by like just as Triple H was wrapping up talking about stuff.
This is the way to do it, Bargov. He knows.
Hell
no
yeah,
expectations.
low bars, baby.
Yeah.
This is okay. This is actually a good segue into a little bit of the TNA stuff from Friday night with Against All Odds.
What?
This is going in with low expectations, and that way you don't get disappointed. This is the same conversation.
Okay.
TNA Against All Odds happened on Friday night. I covered it for the site. Go check out the post show. Cresta and I did, and we talked a lot about the TNA WWE, well, really NXT partnership. Tatum Paxley was the challenger for the Knockouts World Championship, to the surprise of few. Unfortunately, there were also people who were under the impression that it should have been someone, quote, more important or bigger or whatever you want to say. And to that I say, no, didn't really need to be, because no one else has shown up for this partnership yet. It's only been Jordynne Grace. And yeah, sending your champion is a good way to send a shot across the bow, quote unquote. But other than that, no one's really made a transition other than a quick appearance by Ash by Elegance. So for me, it was like, we're going to wait and see. We're going to set our expectations low. And that way, when someone like Tatum Paxley shows up, it's actually easier to praise because she came in, and I said this on the post show, and I'll say it again, in an unwinnable situation, both in kayfabe and in terms of audience perception. And she made the most of it. And by the middle of the match, everyone in that crowd was into it because the match actually became a lot of fun and people got to understand what kind of wrestler Tatum Paxley is. She lost. We go on. It's probably going to be Ash by Elegance versus Jordynne Grace at Slammiversary. Hope to God it's not, and I hope that they change it because I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it live, but it looks like they're doing it. I don't like it. Anyway, the point is they did the match with Tatum Paxley, and I don't know what's coming up next. But I like that they went with Tatum. And do I know what's going to come up next with this NXT partnership? No, but I also know that this is what WWE views TNA on in terms of a connection to their platform. They see it closer to what NXT is, and that's what they're going to do. Now, hopefully, a few men come over on Tuesday and join into the Battle Royal.
I don't think you're going to have anybody. We talked a little bit about it when they made the announcement. Like, if they have TNA names in this Battle Royal, it's just dudes getting tossed out. Like, they ain't winning the Battle Royal. So if you're TNA, you don't really want to send like Josh Alexander to get it tossed out during a picture-in-picture or anything. Maybe he gets to a Final Four, sets something up, but that would not be my expectation. Look, we expected Tatum. They set up Tatum. They basically told you it was going to be Tatum Paxley.
Yeah.
Sorry if you thought it was going to be somebody else, but they told you it was going to be Tatum Paxley. And that's what they delivered on. Fine. It was a good match. The show was fine. The crowd was good. I questioned some of their decisions that they did.
Yes. But, I will say, by the way, the crowd made the show better than it was coming off as, booking-wise.
Do they know what they're doing with Joe Hendry? Like, honest question.
So for those who maybe didn't watch, Joe Hendry had a match with Frankie Kazarian, and the idea here was that Ace Steel, who is from Chicago where the show was, and he's a part of TNA, and there was this level of respect, so he was going to manage Joe Hendry, and instead of making Joe Hendry this comedy character, they're going to make him more serious by partnering him with someone like Ace, who, quote, makes champions. Best friends with CM Punk, and that's fine. That's what he's most known for. So anyway, in the match with Frankie Kazarian, Hendry loses, and he loses it by a hidden object in the tights of Frankie Kazarian. He gets punched on a back suplex into the ring, and it was a sudden end to the match, which I liked because it opens the doors to doing it again and eventually building Hendry to going over the quote unquote king of TNA. However, the big problem here Ace Steel didn't second Hendry to the ring. So he wasn't there to manage him. He came out after the fact when Kazarian was bullying Hendry when he's down. And then Ace somehow gets booked into a match, a Chicago street fight on this week's Impact against Frankie Kazarian. And people are chanting, bite him, which is fantastic. But on top of that, Joe Hendry is just kind of there. He lost the match 1, 2, 3. And they also had him do a run-in at the main event where like they wanted to put him with the main eventers for the perception. But like he lost the match against Kazarian. His manager, quote unquote, went into business for himself. And he doesn't look good. But then he baby faces to the crowd because I think TNA backstage people think that he can do no wrong. He will always be over regardless of where he is on the card. But that doesn't last for very long. So yeah, that's a good point that you're bringing up. And let's talk about it. Hendry could be so much more than what they just did to him in the last couple of weeks.
I don't want to talk about that long. It's TNA, but do you think Ace Steel was doing a meta shot at the Young Bucks of not being able to manage a target? He's such a bad manager that he didn't even come out with Joe Hendry to manage him. Is that a shot at the Young Bucks? I'm just kidding.
Don't think so.
I was stunned that they had Joe Hendry lose. Like, what? Like, to Kazarian, no offense to Kazarian. Kazarian's fantastic, but like Kazarian's at where he's at this point. He doesn't need to win. I also thought it was stupid for him to run out at the main event schmoz. Like, clearly they were setting up the Jeff Hardy return, which was good. Dude, they had the numbers. The system is 3 people. They had Matt, the Nemeths, Joe Hendry. It was 4 against 3 for the baby faces. And friggin' the heels are winning. And then Jeff Hardy has to make the save. I thought Hendry just looked like a dork all throughout this show of losing to Kazarian. His manager didn't even care to show up, even though he was supposed to be there. And then he didn't get the big save when it was 3 against 3. Said he dorked out on the save so Jeff could come out there. This is the most over guy, arguably, in your company. This is a guy who goes above and beyond with how he sells your company and how he sells himself. I'm not saying he's got to be the world champion. He doesn't need to be the world champion. I don't know if Joe Hendry fully makes for a good world champion. I understand. Not even putting a... But don't like you did on this show.
Jonathan's a super chat saying you can have Joe Hendry go through tough times without making him look stupid. You need some new people on the creative team because it's still repetitive. Now, I 100% agree with the first statement. Second statement, listen. Don't know, don't care. I hope that they figure out what the story's going to be because you're right. Going through tough times is one thing, and every babyface wrestler should face that on their comeuppance. Making them look stupid like they did on Friday night, not the way to do it. It was very silly. And Joe Hendry is that character that is not world title ready, but is world title poised in that you can start the push and he can falter along the way because again, in the TNA story, he's always been Mr. Comedy Guy. He won the Digital Media Championship and everything was a big jokey joke. So instead of making him dumb babyface or just sing-songy comedy babyface, they want to make him more serious, the more man of the people. And they started doing that when they started putting him up against members of the system, which is good. And they should continue to do that. They should do it with Frankie Kazarian too, because Frankie is another one that everybody boos when they see him. Nobody says, oh, I still like Kazarian because legacy. No, they play their part when it comes to Kazarian. The match... Again, if it had just been that match without the Ace Steel stuff, and they did the wonk finish with the hidden, brass knuckles or whatever Kazarian uses, that would have been enough. And you could have done the match again with a different set of rules, no disqualification, whatever, and then Hendry gets the win and you move on. That would have been fine with me. But because they introduced Ace Steel and then they did everything with Ace coming out and putting himself in a match, Joe Hendry is going to get involved in the Chicago street fight, I'm sure of it, and yada yada, we move along. It just wasn't a well-told story, in my opinion, as you're trying to move this Joe Hendry character forward and upward.
This is almost TNA syndrome of they have good hot acts, and they are just like, here is the guys we're going to give you in the main event. They have a hot act in Joe Hendry, and instead of letting him be hot, they make him look stupid in the Kazarian thing, where the focus then becomes on Ace Steel. Out of all people, Ace Steel. Guy who hasn't wrestled in forever. Guy who is best known by most fans for biting a dude backstage. That's who you're putting over the Joe Hendry story. And then Joe Hendry in the main event. Here's Jeff Hardy. Love Jeff. Still think there's some drawing power in Jeff Hardy and the Hardys. At some point, you got to move forward with stuff. And TNA ain't really moving forward with stuff.
They've got the Nemeths, both of them. Now they've got the Hardys, both of them. I'm a little trepidatious when it comes to what they're booking right now and what they're working on, because, you know, for the longest time, the knock on them was pulling former WWE guys, in this case, in WWE and AEW.
They beating those allegations.
No, they're not doing a very good job of beating those allegations in this moment. And they got a guy like Joe Hendry, who was, again, coming in fresh-faced, newer, and building up as a TNA talent. Of course, he has a background with Ring of Honor and so on and so forth. But post-pandemic, Hendry wasn't known for anything else. So this is an opportunity to have a quote-unquote homegrown star. Even Jonathan Gresham, the way that they're portraying him right now, there's a lot of potential with this character. Now you get Dr. Kushida as well. That's a whole other can of worms. But the point of all this is, you know, Jeff Hardy's back. And the second that they announced, you know, he's going to be a free agent, blah, 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 I said to myself, great, I know where this is going. It's going to be the System and the Hardys at Slammiversary, and hopefully the Hardys do not win, but won't be surprised if and when they do.
Are you going to do, like, all the titles for that? Who's the third Hardy boy, brother? Is it Joe Hendry? Joe Hardy?
No. When I say the System, I mean I mean Edwards and Myers, the tag team.
Oh, who's Moose facing at the pay-per-view then?
I know, and I can't say it because TV tapings.
Oh, send it to me in the private chat.
Sure. And people are saying Jeff can't travel. Hey, he's traveled before. I don't know what his current situation is given his recent issues.
Oh, I hope it's King Maxwell. Hell yeah. I'm actually for that. King Maxwell, young star. At least they're putting over some young talent there.
Yeah. There you go. I sent it to you in the chat. And I don't like it. And I do not like what they're doing. If anyone wants to know, there are spoilers for TV tapings anywhere that you look for this past week. If you really want to know what the current plans are for Slammiversary and for title matches and things like that. So, with that said, it's not what I would do.
That's a stupid match.
Ain't it? So, especially at Slammiversary, it's not the stuff that I would do. It should be.
They should.
Yeah, go ahead.
Look, if people care about TNA spoilers, tune out, okay? All right. If they're going to do this, they should bring back the 6-sided ring.
No, I've said my piece on this on the post show. It should be, if you're going to keep having Frankie Kazarian say, I am the king of TNA, then they should be doing a King of the Mountain match.
Okay, I actually like that idea. Hope maybe they will go with the King of the Mountain match.
I'm hoping that it gets pivoted into a King of the Mountain match.
Okay. That's at least a little bit better than just doing this, but how hilarious is it that everyone's fantasy booking these TNA ideas and they're like, oh, AJ, send AJ to TNA. WWE's like, yeah, AJ's going to Japan to wrestling Marufuji. Rules. But look, the TNA relationship is where it's at, right? Like, they got Jordan. That benefited NXT and WWE. They sent Tatum Paxley. Like, that's fine for TNA, but they weren't really doing anything with Tatum Paxley in NXT. She was just kind of there. She's a good character who they can send and she can get beat, and it's fine. Meanwhile, with Japan, it's like, yeah, we're gonna send over Dempsey. We're gonna send over Nakamura. We're gonna send over AJ. Even GCW, like ever since Shayna to do a GCW match to beat a TNA talent, mind you, man, the levels of the relationships are very, they're said with the talent that's being exchanged. EO, yeah, they're sending EO over to Marigold. And look, Japan, they can afford to send these people over there and even have these people lose because it doesn't really affect the WWE TV standing. It makes them look good of like, oh, look who they're sending over there. It makes them look good to the sickos of like, oh, they're sending Nakamura, AJ, EO. This looks big. And if they lose, who cares? Because it's in Japan. It doesn't really affect their TV standing in WWE. They can't quite do that with TNA. And I get that. They don't want to send AJ because they don't want AJ losing on TNA television because more people in America are going to watch these TNA shows than the Japan shows. So I get it. But it also just says, it shows where these relationships are at.
It's like I said on the Against All Odds post show. They clearly see, WWE clearly sees TNA as a brand that's on par with NXT as its closest. And even then, it's like we're gonna send you young talent because you do have some young talent. And that young talent is going to come in, they're going to get reps outside of the PC, in some cases for the first time ever. And this is an opportunity for them. I think WWE sees this as, we know which talent we would like to take when their contracts are done, that we can, potentially cherry pick. But we also know that there's an advantage to playing nice, playing ball, and giving some of our talent that we have in-house that we're building an opportunity to work outside of the sandbox. And that is actually worthwhile for any talent that's PC based, is that they're getting those reps in places they don't normally get to work, in front of crowds they don't normally see, in just situations that they aren't normally put into. And yeah, they get a chaperone. Johnny Russo was there with Tatum Paxley Against All Odds. I don't want it to sound like it's a chaperone. They got to go with hold their hand and all that. But there was someone from WWE who did represent Paxley alongside, who was there for WWE. And so as a result, there's an understanding there. And no, it's not Cody's going to TNA. It's not AJ Styles is going to TNA. It's none of that. Natty, the reason why Natalya is a really good idea is because of everything she's done in women's wrestling, that there is a respect there with her and Jordan Grace, and there was interaction as well. But also, Natty did do some stuff in NXT, so it would be feasible for someone to be like, "You want to go to TNA?" And Natty would be like, "Yeah, absolutely." But now Natty also doesn't have a contract, so it doesn't really matter as much, or at least her contract's almost done.
It's also, we love Natalya, bitch.
Absolutely.
But Natalya is put on a certain level on WWE television. She's barely on WWE main roster television. She's been in NXT. So you can send Natalya there and lose to Jordan, and like no one really bats an eye. Like AJ Styles, sure, he's losing to Cody Rhodes. Dude is still wrestling Cody Rhodes in big time matches on WWE pay-per-views. Dude still has a weekly presence on television. They're not just going to send these people who they, even if they're losing on television, who are staples of television down there, to lose in TNA. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, is what it is. Natty needs to show up and just yell, bitch. Natalya and Marigold.
That'd rule, actually.
That would be great. Well, listen, she can go anywhere and it'd be great. Anyway, what else is left on this show to talk about? What happened on Collision this week? A lot of wrestling happened on Collision. You didn't go. Why didn't you go?
The show didn't interest me outside of Thunder Rosa and Deonna Purrazzo. By the way, can you go long today?
Sure. What can I or will I? Will I? Yes. Can I? Depends on what we have to talk about.
Alistair McGeorge might join us at 12. There was confusion with I sent him a message on an account that I guess was hacked.
Old account.
Yeah, his old account.
I found out about that old account earlier. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. So I'm just sending him whenever you are free. Sending him the link now. So I think around 12 he's going to join us.
Okay. Alistair McGeorge, who writes for Metro UK and also was at Clash at the Castle this past weekend. if he joins us. Now you know why Alistair is going to join us.
Yeah. So Collision, yeah, the show, like on paper, didn't super interest me outside of Deanna and Thunder Rosa. Like Blackpool Combat Club Wrestling was fine. I knew the matches were going to be good, but you guys know me. Like, I'm not, let me go watch wrestling matches where I don't have too much interest in the wrestlers or the outcome of this. Like Dante Martin, Lee Moriarty, really good match. But Dante Martin and Lee Moriarty are on the pecking order that they're on, and I didn't really care who won the match. House of Black, Gun Club. I actually thought that whole thing was dumb. I thought the ending of that show was dumb.
What about the buddy spot with the injury and the carry out, and then the Patriarchy having taken him out backstage? Did you like the way that played out?
No, I thought it was all stupid. Because
curious.
I don't like any of these people, Joel. And it's not I don't like them as, and it's not that I don't like them as people, obviously. Their characters on television, I'm supposed to dislike them. I don't have a rooting interest of any of these people. What have I been told about House of Black the entire time?
They're spooky and they'll kill you.
Yes, you know I don't like the spooky characters. Killing, fine. I'm all for murder in wrestling. But,
right.
You know, I don't like the spookiness of the characters and everything. These are bad people. These are people you should not like. They're taking rings from Adam Copeland. They make me like Adam Copeland. Think about that, everybody.
That's a problem.
They're beating up Adam Copeland. They're not good people on television. Their television characters are not good people. And so who are they feuding with? The Gun Club and Juice Robinson, their television characters are not good people. And the Patriarchy, Christian Cage, maybe the worst person on television. I don't like any of these people. I've been told you should not like any of these people. They all have no redeeming qualities. They're all bad people. They all go against your heroes that you're supposed to like. They're trying to destroy all the people that you should like. They're all like, it's a bunch of heels feuding with each other. And it doesn't interest me. It just doesn't. I like Christian Cage's character? Yes. He has no redeeming qualities when it comes to this stuff. Do I think Brody King, Malachi Black, and Buddy Matthews are great wrestlers? Yes. But their characters they try to poison people, they beat up married men, and then they fake turn to continue to beat up the baby face. And I get people, I do like Juice Robinson as a person, as a character, fine. People are doing the don't disrespect father Christian Cage. I love the character of Christian Cage. I get it. I understand Christian pops me all the time. It's fantastic. But if you're looking at it from this non-meta perspective that AEW loves to do, these are not good people. These are not people you should like, you should cheer for, you should care about. It's a bunch of heels. It's a bunch of bad people who do bad things. And you got to find somebody, I guess, that you like. And maybe you like that Christian Cage is despicable. Maybe that is. Fine. To me, none of it interests me.
Everything you said makes perfect sense, and it's something that we have talked about here, and it's something that I've kind of preached along the way when it comes to wrestling in general, is that if you're not bought into a character, you're not bought into a story or a presentation, then you're not interested. And if you're not interested, then matches are just happening. And if matches are just happening, you're not really paying attention. So why bother? And it's a good point. Again, the patriarchy are primarily, again, and what we're talking about is these are presentations of characters. These are not talking about the wrestlers, the humans themselves portraying the wrestlers. No, we're talking about the wrestlers, their presentation on TV, how you as a fan are supposed to perceive them. In the patriarchy, you're not supposed to like them because they have done bad things and continue to say bad things to make you want to boo them. You've got going as far as Christian Cage saying, you know, Tony, I'm your father now because I'm going to win championships and your dad gave you millions of dollars, but I'm better than your dad. So I'm your father now. It's supposed to, that's a heel tactic. Tony Khan is beloved.
It's a great segment, by the way. Like,
yes,
I popped for the segment. Fine.
It's funny and it's entertaining, but it doesn't get you invested in wanting to cheer the characters. Unless they're going to make you want to cheer them in the future. Becoming too meta that you are eventually cheered can be a problem if that's the way that you only do babyface and heel turns. That's my
which is kind of how they do most of their babyface and heel turns.
Which it is. Swerve is a good example of that. We talked about it on this show. Swerve was a good example of that. People started really liking Swerve because they really liked the character. And when they really liked the character, they had to turn him babyface because they cheered what he was doing, not the bad things he was doing. They were cheering his booking. They were cheering his working, not his storytelling. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I agree with you on that. And it's frustrating because someone was saying, you know, the trios division is cooking and the tag division is not. Well, guess what? That's exactly what happened when they introduced the trios title. You can't easily have both running at the same time. It's the spinning plates analogy that I use, in that if all the plates are spinning, you got to run and spin one every time because there's always one that's starting to lose its momentum. And in this case, this is what they're going to do. Go back to the trios being important. They're going to be built up as important. And then meanwhile, the tag division is going to flounder because guess what? The Young Bucks aren't putting up the titles. And if the Young Bucks aren't putting up the titles, then we got to do the trios tag team or the trios titles. And that's what the patriarchy wants. And then you've got House of Black. And then you've got eventually, I'm assuming Top Flight reunites maybe with Action Andretti as well. And we just go from there. They'll start building up, like the Acclaimed is another one. Daddy Ass will join up. We'll do all three. If the trios titles are going to be more important, then great. Start putting the emphasis on the trios title. Fine. And then you got to start working with the tag titles somewhere. They're nowhere right now.
See, I actually like that the tag titles are kind of being held hostage by the Young Bucks. I wish they'd play it up a little bit more. They're doing a decent job.
That's my problem, is that more tag teams should be saying, you know what? If you're not going to put those tag titles on the line, then here's our buddy so-and-so. We're going to go after the trios titles because we want gold in this company. That's what I'm hoping more tag teams do, is they start adding or working with a third person and saying, screw you, Young Bucks. Your tag titles don't mean shit. I want the World Trios titles.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but they can go to interim EVP Christopher Daniels, because Daniels and Tony Khan had power this week because they revoked the fine that were given out by the Young Bucks on Twitter. So as long as we know that Tony Khan and Christopher Daniels were in charge this week, last week they could not be in charge. Could not be in charge because Brandon Cutler was in charge, because he wouldn't allow FTR and Blackpool Combat Club to go 5 more minutes. So you just got to make sure you know who is in charge out here. But Christopher Daniels made the match of the Acclaimed of, hey, here's the Acclaimed. They get the eliminator match. Like, I wish there was more focus on that. Like, yeah, you defend your titles. Defend this company. Like, this company used to be about wrestling. Why aren't you putting your titles on the line? Like, that's what should happen here, but it's not happening enough. Like, I've talked about the Young Bucks situation and how, I thought that angle could have been more, should have been more. When we're talking about like the meta turns, people in the chat mentioned like the Acclaimed, they were booed, but then everybody loved the Acclaimed, so they got cheered. Britt was another one who was booed, but then she became cheered. They at least still, they were right in turning the Acclaimed baby faces. That worked. They still kind of kept Britt at least a heel a little bit, because they thought Saraya was coming in as a baby face, and then she almost healed herself with that first promo to where Britt ended up getting cheered off of that. That was just misreading of the room, I guess, or Saraya. It's Saraya, right? I want to make sure I say it
Saraya.
right. Okay, it is Saraya. Okay. Or Saraya just, the promo didn't hit how they thought it was going to hit. So stuff happens. I get it. But yeah, a lot of their turns are just kind of meta turns, but it's about how you book these people and how you book them, who you book them against. So, people are mentioning, they're going to turn House of Black baby faces now. And that's, I guess, what they're doing because Buddy Matthews gets hurt. So you're supposed to be sympathetic towards him because he got injured, taken out of the match, and then he got taken out backstage and laid out by a top heel group. So it's like, well, okay, now you're just going to cheer for House of Black because they're feuding with heels, but they're still bad people. I need to see something more out of them to do something different than there. And Redmond's 5, that's not how most turns happen. Like there's a given reason why a lot of turns happen. It's how a lot of stuff happens in AEW, but throughout history, that's not typically how it goes. It goes because either a good guy stands up to a heel, or a heel or a good guy turns on another good guy, and so that makes him a bad person. Turning a group heel by having a bigger and badder heel group go after them, or turning a group babyface by having a bigger and badder heel group go after them, doesn't it doesn't hit for me.
We call that the babyface combat club mentality.
And I mean, that's true though. Like that's true. I love Blackpool, but one week they're fighting baby faces, another week they're fighting heels. This week they're just fighting people. And it's like, all right, like I like Blackpool because I like them as wrestlers, but I do see the disjointedness. And look, we've said this before. We've said it before. And so you mentioned Cena, and a lot of people love to bring Cena in there. Like he gets booed, but he's supposed to be the babyface. Even if you were booing John Cena, you knew what his morality was. John Cena was still never give up, hustle, loyalty, respect, and he was always fighting, for the most part, heels. Sometimes he had to fight a babyface because they just didn't have a lot of challengers for him. But for the most part, he was fighting people who were bad people. And that's what happens. Yeah, when he was a heel, but he was doing the rep. But who did he face? He turned, he faced like the Big Show, who people didn't like. So he turned babyface by going after a heel. A heel kind of, because I don't trust, and maybe it's my own hang up when it comes to this stuff. I don't trust that House of Black are actually baby faces. They're just a heel group feuding with another heel group, and you can cheer for whoever you want to cheer for. But after this, they're facing the Gun Club, another heel group. I don't trust that they're actually like a babyface group. I think they're just a heel group that you might cheer for because of who they're facing right now. But then they're still going to attack. Remember they tried to do a House of Black, like Blackpool feud, and it didn't actually go anywhere. That's when like Moxley returned and Malachi. They did big, like 300 returns on one night, and then led to nothing. I just don't trust that they're like actually good people now.
The John Cena babyface turn was around No Mercy 03.
Okay.
Kurt Angle, and then he battle rapped the fan in the parking lot. Remember that?
That ruled.
Yeah, that was kind of the beginning of like the John Cena soft turn. And then after the match, because the match was so good, people started to cheer John Cena, and Cena started saying, "I like the cheers," and and it softened him, and he started wanting to fight for what was right, and that was kind of what started the John Cena babyface turn in 2003. Also, the fact that creatively they really needed some people to on the babyface depth chart to start running through, making the guy. So there you go. We had a couple super chats. Let's get this one from Barkov saying, "I feel like the Punk era of Collision had a little more storytelling since rosters were split and it was its own show and had its own storylines." I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that because Collision was fresh and new at the time when Punk was a part of it, obviously it was created for him by and large. The idea, the stories were just kind of like, this is who Punk wants to work with and who he sees, that this would work. So let's plug these people in. And it only lasted for a few months before he was gone. And on top of that, it was, I think Redmond Survivor to mention in the chat, it was like a lot of squash matches and then a 45-minute main event, which is pretty true for the beginning years of Collision. Punk had ideas, but also Punk wouldn't let people into the building.
I think Punk definitely had ideas, but it was also a little disjointed too. Because the big overarching story was Punk was the real world's champion. Then his title was never acknowledged by the actual world champion. And we don't know if it was going to go anywhere. Who knows? But I do think Punk had an idea of what he wanted to do. I don't think he was fully able to take advantage of that for one reason or another. Some of it was his own fault. Others was just other people didn't want to work with him as well. So did he have ideas? Yes. Was it always there? No. He did have people he clearly latched onto. And Bargov mentions, Bullet Club Gold, FTR, like they had a good series of matches there. House of Black, he clearly liked. He was working with Ricky, and then Danielson ended up working with Ricky. Like, he had ideas, but he wasn't able to fully flesh those out. One, he wasn't the time. That was, he did what he did there for the time, didn't work. And two, certain people just weren't going to work and that he wanted to work with or that he thought he wanted to work with. So it didn't work in that sense.
It did work for me, brother? That Thunder Rosa Deonna Purrazzo match. I know you mentioned it when he ran down the Collision card, but that was a good match. That was a fun match.
It was great. I do love that they had something for Deonna coming off of the world title feud. They had something for Thunder coming off of the world title feud with Toni Storm as well, which is good, which is something I was a little bit worried about when Deonna first entered. It's like, oh, she's going right into the world title picture. Hopefully nothing bad happens to where she's just out of the picture after she doesn't win the world title, because we've seen that story before. You're going to ROH, brother. And not. Fortunately, like they were able to pivot into, I don't even know if it was a pivot, but they were friends turned into rivals, and then Deonna was the heel coming out of this because she did more of the big turn. And like everybody's mentioned the ramp table spot. Thank God that table didn't collapse. That could have gone very bad, but they pulled it off. Credit to them. It was it was good stuff. And you knew that match was going to be very good, and it was. And I'm glad both ladies delivered.
This is that was one of those spots, the table spots, where you remember that these two women are smaller than most of the men on the roster, so they could get away with it, whereas most of the men probably the table would have broken underneath them. I really appreciate that Deonna continues to use her husband's movesets. Did the same during the match, did the pulled her through under the top turnbuckle and gave her the kick to the face. Loved using that. She was, again, Deonna and Rosa have the history not only in AEW, but they also have the history from Impact, from Slammiversary a few years back when Thunder Rosa came in and challenged for the Knockouts Championship. So it's not completely lost that these two are working together. There is a history, and I appreciate that it's continuing on. And once they move past it, that's going to be the big test. And like you said, hopefully this isn't one of them ends up working Ring of Honor brother and the other one ends up, waiting for their title shots. No, I hope that this proves and continues to prove that more women in AEW can have storylines that are not surrounding a world championship. This was a good feud that had good matches.
The women's stuff is the best thing in AEW.
It is right now. Yeah.
I'm invested in all of this. The Deanna Thunder stuff, that was something, again, I wanted to watch on Collision. That was something I didn't know who was going to win. Could have gone either way for me. Would have made sense either way, however they were trying to tell the story. That was something that, I almost went to Collision for. It's just the rest of the card didn't interest me too much. But that's been a very great feud. Toni Storm, Mariah May, now you've entered Mina Shirakawa into everything. It's great. Mercedes, I think she's the best women's wrestler out there right now. The stuff with it's Forbidden Door season, so she's just kind of having a match with Thacker. I'm interested in the match. Obviously, I don't think Mercedes is going to lose or anything like that, but I know Mercedes is going to be good when you get past Forbidden Door and she has more she can kind of like sink her teeth into. Because the Willow stuff was good. It was a little long just because Mercedes wasn't wrestling until Double or Nothing. So they kind of had to rehash a little bit of stuff. But like the story was there between Mercedes and Willow. And now they're continuing the story with Willow and Statlander, which is fantastic. The women's stuff's the best stuff in AEW. I don't even really think it's close, honestly. Like, I'm way more excited for any of that than anything going on in AEW now. Like, I know Ospreay and Swerve is going to be good, and I did like the closing segment on Wednesday. The rest of the show is like, all right, we're doing like matches right now, and like cool, but the women's stuff, there's not only are they doing good matches, they got meaning and purpose behind a lot of these matches.
They absolutely do, and I'm looking forward to the continuation of them. I don't have anything else from Collision that's worth really bringing up, unless you want to talk about Hechicero versus Dalton Castle.
Yeah, that match got added. I was like, all right.
I looked at it. I was like, really? Dalton Castle? I like Dalton Castle. I think he's a good wrestler. He got a hell of a match with Hechicero, but it was like, we're going to do this cold match because, quote unquote, for the sickos. But other than that, Collision was what it was. But there was some good stuff. We talked about it. If Alistair's going to join us, now would be the right time to do it. Where are you, Alistair?
Collision could have used more TV time.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. If people are excited for Lio Rush, good. Okay.
What are you hating on Lio Rush for?
I'm not. It's just Leo's fine. Okay. Like I'm happy Lio is back and working in AEW. I feel like I don't think they're gonna want his Blackheart character on TV.
Well, he can join up. Maybe that's the third House of Black member.
House of Black member. Yeah. That's right. I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, if he's back and he's doing the spooky thing on the indies, I don't know if Malachi is gonna be big fan of that. And then of course they're doing this now. So I mean, listen, they could have him team up with House of Black. I wouldn't hate it. It would be very strange to see him with those other two men, given their stature. Lio, if you thought Buddy was out of place, Lio is going to be even. Leo's got the tattoos. He's ripped, but he is physically a lot smaller than these guys. Very strange.
They're looking at Lio as the little brother.
That's not how you want this to go. I was thinking about that. Like, why? Why not? It just doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good.
They're protective of their little brother, Lio Rush.
Maybe. Hey, how would you all feel if I hosted the Dynamite Post Show this week?
That sounds terrible. Why?
Doesn't it? I've been asked if I would like to do that. This is also a week where I am solo parenting.
Oh, it's going to be awful. Is it you and Pulowski?
I guess so.
Oh, boy.
I know, right? Well, Sean and I would never share a screen together. That'd be awful.
Oh, boy.
Who would do that? Who would want me and Sean? Nobody wants two hosts. Two hosts is like, that's not what you do. You want a host and a color person. Color guy, you know what I mean? Color commentary person. An analyst. People are saying do it. Maybe I'll do it. We'll see. I've done it with Pulaski before. We had a lot of fun. But I'm again solo parenting this week. My wife is away. It's me and the kids. Just me. We'll do it. People call me out for that thing. Whoops. See, look at that. People enjoyed the last time Pulaski and I did a show.
For some reason.
Yeah, because it was good. And also it was WrestleMania season, so people were like, these guys. Anyway, what else do you want to talk about?
Anything else happen on the wrestling this week?
Not that I really want to get into. I mean, we covered.
Wow, coward.
We did the Clash. We did the TNA. We did the Collision, the AEW stuff.
New Japan. We can't. We gotta.
Yeah, sure. You want to. By the way, if anyone wants a freebie, start a New Japan podcast, and you can call it. I forget what I forgot the joke. Is that great? Isn't that great? Like, you have the joke and you completely forget it. Can we rewind for a second? Here, let me just reset this up. Give me a second. Hold on. Okay, let's go. I'm just kidding.
What was that?
That was me resetting the entire show. That was the joke. Anyway, you start.
We should do that. We should do that.
Just reset the entire show.
No, anytime we go past 12, like right at 12. Remember when Nitro, like the top of the hour, the pyro,
yeah.
Even if there's a middle of a match. So from now on at 12 o'clock, if we go past, no matter what we're talking about, cut off. We need an hour 2 intro. Okay, in case we ever go long. Can Tim make like an hour 2 intro?
He can do a lot of things. Tim's going to be with me at GCW in Toronto.
Okay.
So there you go.
Ask him to make an hour 2 intro. It's got to be different. It's got to be like, the first hour, I guess hour 3 technically is a 2-hour show. The first introduction, it's very upbeat, very, what would Macklin call it? Very sitcom.
90s
intro.
Sitcom, yes.
Yeah. So the hour 3 intro needs to be a little bit different. Maybe it could be spooky. Can Tim do something spooky?
He can do anything. It's
okay.
Tim. It's Tim. He can do
anything.
anything.
All right. Get him on this, Joel.
All right. I'll speak to Tim. We'll get him on it. The starting a podcast, it should be called Start Spreading the Nuge. It's a beginner's guide to New Japan.
Oh. Yes. Okay. Alistair's going to join us in a couple minutes.
All right, then. Till then, we sit in silence and we await. Could you imagine? He shows up and we're both just sitting there, just arms crossed, like.
People got good ideas for this, by the way. New Jap and me.
Yeah, no, there was some good stuff in there. Although that's slightly racist.
New Japan Pro Wrestling. That's good.
Louis, of course, gets the good one with.
Sorry.
Senuge.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Oh,
people got good ideas when it comes to the New Japan. So, we missed a super chat, by the way, Joel.
Well, I wanted to bring it up when Alistair was here because it was back at Clash at the Castle.
Okay. All right. Fair.
Yeah.
So New Japan had a big show this past week. New Japan Soul.
A really big show.
Joel, you know how I joke about like all these New Japan titles just change hands and people get them for like 30 days, make one title defense, or 90 days and they made 2 title defenses.
Yeah, it feels like that's what happened here.
They did this title change just to fucking piss me off.
We're talking about the 6-man, right?
Yes. The never open weight 6-man. So I didn't watch this show live. It started at like 1 a.m. I tried to sleep. I couldn't. I was up at like 3. So at 3 o'clock, I get up and I'm like, all right, let me pay attention to this show now. And I was like, all right, what do I got to catch up on? I see the AJ Marufuji announcement. I got to write that. I see the G1 Climax announcements. Got to do that. I see just other stuff. I was like, all right, got to write all this stuff. Blake Christian returned at GCW. I was like, oh, that's pretty big. So got to write that. And then I'm like, all right, what title changes happened? Because I saw there were 5 title matches on this show. So it's like, they're going to, of course, do some title changes. What title changes happen? Scrolling. I see these never 6-man titles change. I'm like, are you kidding me? I swear I wrote a title change article a week ago for these titles. And sure enough, a 7-day title reign. What in the hell is the point of this? There is none. The point is, let's piss off Jeremy and make him write this extra article for changing these never open weight 6-man titles that don't exist for any actual reason other than we're going to do these title matches and do these title changes. They don't have feuds for these titles. The group of Tanahashi and Ishii and Yano are just thrown together. They do it strictly to piss me off.
I figured it's because of all the shit we talk about Rocky Romero on the show. I think that's the problem. Anyway, we have someone much more professional than us here. Shall we bring him on?
Yes.
He looks ready. From Metro UK, we're welcoming Alistair McGeorge back to the show. Good morning.
Hi, how you guys doing?
We're well.
How are you?
Alistair? Good, yeah. Well, I'm just about recovering from the weekend. It's been, hectic, but a lot of fun.
Yeah, right, give me a top moment from your experience.
No, Joel, stop.
No. Come on. Let me have this.
Not a top moment. No one cares about the top moment. Everybody wants to know, how pissed off was Alex McCarthy when Drew McIntyre lost?
So he managed to sit. He was sat a few rows down in front of me, so I didn't see his immediate reaction. But I know from the first clash we shared a lot of sad cuddles when he lost to Roman. So I imagine he was just as devastated this time.
I didn't know. I knew you guys were sitting near each other. I saw the photo, and I didn't know if he needed just consolation, a shoulder to cry on after all of that. I feel bad for my pal Alex McCarthy, so I hope he's doing well. All right, what was the reaction in the build? We saw the footage of Samantha Irvin getting booed, and she's like, I just work here, man. What was the overall just feeling in the building when Punk comes out and then Drew loses?
I think Punk coming out and the moment where they sort of showed him on the big screen, you saw him in the ref shirt and everything, there was a bit of a buzz going around the place, just seeing him there and getting involved. But the actual moment when the 3 count went, there seemed to be almost it seems unfair to say the air being sucked out of the room. It wasn't like it was a no reaction kind of thing. There was sort of a stunned silence and then the boos almost immediately started. I think the reaction was probably exactly what they were going for. They knew what they were doing, getting Punk coming out there and screwing Drew again. I did feel for Samantha Irvin with having to deal with all the bullshit chants and everything else raining down there. But everyone just seemed stunned. Like a few of us have been talking over the weekend, and the pitch we were thinking they might have gone for would be Punk helping Drew win and Drew having to deal with his big moment coming from his sworn enemy being the one to hand it to him. But it's not the way they went.
Thank God for that. We talked about it. The story is about King Petty, but not important right now. Yeah. Going into the event, there were a lot of people discussing about the press conference, and it became a post show. And you were going to the post show and the presser and all that. What were you told about a post show press conference? And was there ever any doubt about it actually happening?
No, as far as I was concerned, the whole time there was going to be a press conference. I did sort of ask at the junket, trying to find out from people just to sort of triple and quadruple check, but I was told press conference as normal. So, I was spending that day still sort of prepping questions for potential winners, that kind of thing, and things I wanted to ask Paul Levesque if I got the chance. But as far as I knew, it was always going to be the press conference. Obviously, I'd seen the reports from WrestleVotes, but I hadn't heard anything to suggest that it wasn't going to be this time.
Was the room any different in terms of presentation or expectation going in?
No, it was set up the same. We kind of met straight as soon as the main event ended, taken through to the room. Only difference was Kathy Kelly hosting it instead of Byron Saxton, but it kind of ran the same.
Yeah, they did like a post show. I don't know how much you guys saw of that, but they did like the panel post show blended with the press conference, which I thought worked. But when they announced it, that was a post show, I think that kind of threw people of like, oh, is there going to be a press conference? Yeah, I was going to ask the same thing of like any different protocol at the press conference, told anything different compared to past press conferences that you've been at?
Yeah, no, there was nothing. Like I say, no, there was no kind of difference in the presentation because I was confused when I'd seen I think it was on Raw last week, it came up with the graphic saying post show. But like you say, they obviously did work that into it. So whether it was just a miscommunication with graphics department putting it out as just a post show on Raw or things, but there was no kind of difference in terms of how it works, the protocols, my job while I was there, it all worked the same as usual.
Okay, what was an actual good moment from the show or from the weekend then, since Drew and him losing killed the crowd?
Drew's entrance that night was special. I've not watched the show back live on TV, but I'm guessing he looked quite emotional with it as well. It was you could tell the whole arena was loving it. It was, I imagine, a very proud moment for him, regardless of the result. Like, that's been the thing I've wondered as well, that I know how gutted he was coming out of Clash, not getting that big win the first time round. With this, he is heading into a great summer program with Punk. He's still got sort of the big moments, like sharing the ring with Sheamus the night before in a dark match where they really got to let loose and have a lot of fun. He got his family all there. He was able to see his family in between all his media commitments. It still seemed like it was a great weekend for him. And even away from him, there were sort of highlights. I thought the reactions Otis were getting was incredible. It was, I think that and Drew's entrance were the closest the crowd really came to Backlash as well last month. Like, the volume and the tenacity of it was brilliant.
Pyro? No, none of it's.
No pyro.
Do you know why, or did it affect anyone like sitting around you being like, "Why is there no pyro here?" Did you hear any rumblings?
I didn't hear anyone complaining, but I've seen, bits online of people wondering why there wasn't. I don't know whether it was like the setup of the arena, because there was a bit sort of where the hard cam was, where there was a bit of a curtain, but I know from the layouts of the arena that's just a wall with no kind of seats or space for any kind of extra rigging. So I don't know if that played into it. Maybe it was a kind of practical decision, but no, I'm not too sure if there was anything more with that.
The Unholy Union winning the tag team titles. That was pretty much the biggest reaction, positive, of the night. What were your thoughts on that match and then them winning in their hometown?
Yeah, the match, first of all, I think the reaction to Jade has been massively overblown. I won't say that kind of first of all, that, lots of people are making mistakes in the ring. She did have some great spots during that match. I think maybe the best thing for her would be to have some dark matches, maybe that kind of thing in front of Raw and SmackDown crowds, to get some more reps in. But no, I thought the match was quite fun, considering going in, the Unholy Union really only had, in terms of the booking, being Scottish sort of behind them. And Shayna and Zoe hadn't really been heated up for the match either. But I thought even with that, sort of all six of them are great and worked an entertaining match. Obviously, like I said with Jade, there were a couple of slip-ups, but I thought it worked well. And the ending, it was when Isla sort of slipped in the ring and did the German suplex to Jade. And I think everyone started to realise then that something was about to happen. And you could hear almost just the roar of anticipation. She was going over to the pin. And yeah, as everyone saw on TV, just the outpouring of emotion with everything Alba Fire's been through as well. It was beautiful and really emotional to see both of them get that.
Did you have a question when you were in the presser that you didn't get to answer or didn't get to ask that you would have really liked to have gotten off?
Yeah, there was a few. For CM Punk, there were a couple, though they did get asked. Sort of, there was about the injury recovery being the obvious one, and Denise asking him about the return and kind of the atmosphere backstage. So I was glad they both got asked, because that was kind of what I jotted down in case he came out. And then for Paul Levesque, I really wanted to ask about the TNA arrangement, a bit more about the logistics of that, the change of attitude, that sort of thing, and also Dana White's comments about the UFC and WWE weekenders, and the idea of PLEs moving back to Sunday to accommodate those, and kind of ask him a bit about Paul Levesque about his attitude to that, given the way having Saturday evening pay-per-views has been great for them internationally, where people can actually stay up or travel to these weekenders, that kind of thing. So I was interested to get his perspective on that, but this time I didn't get a chance to ask him anything. So,
did you get a donut from CM Punk?
I didn't get a donut, and I massively regret not just when he sort of half offered. I glanced around and no one else was going for it, and I'm like, I'm not being the only one to stand up and go and grab a donut. But when I realised I wasn't getting a question, I wish I'd just taken the donut. And
leaving here with something.
The what? Sorry.
Leaving here with something. If I don't get a question out, I'm getting a donut off of this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So no, that might be my only regret from the weekend, not taking that.
It's just a room full of journalists being like, no, we are professionals. No muffins for us. That will look like we're taking bribes. We're finally listening. Oh man.
To be fair, I was hungry by then as well. I'd only had some like cheesy fries that evening, so I really should have gone for it.
I get it. I say this every pay-per-view I attend. If I'm doing a post-show presser, just give me a bottle of water. That's all I want.
Yeah.
They should be offering. Anyway. I don't know if I have any. Did you go to SmackDown?
Yeah, I did SmackDown as well.
How was that experience? Because obviously different card, different grouping of people.
Yeah, it was cool. It wasn't quite as busy because there'd also been, or it didn't look as busy from where we were, just because there was a huge sort of football match in the Euros with Scotland, Germany. The atmosphere was a little more subdued than the night before, but also I think the show took a little while to get going. But once AJ and Cody did their promo, the place came unglued, and yeah, it felt special, and there was clearly a lot of excitement. And then the dark matches we got that night, we had Sami and Ludwig Kaiser, who came out in a Germany shirt, flashing sort of 3-0 to the crowd in the middle of the match. Getting great heat for that, which was
that's the biggest heel move he could do right there.
Yeah, so that was fantastic. Especially for the few, they had Pretty Deadly come out before the show as well in England shirts and sort of slagging off the Scots, which was great. And then, like I said before, the dark match main event was Drew and Sheamus, and that was special seeing them have that moment together and Drew really soaking it up. So,
okay, we got to address an elephant in the room here, or really masks in the room. I see that mask behind you. Joel, you have a mask behind you.
I do.
Chelsea Green had a mask. Is everybody working in cahoots here to get Chelsea Green back so Piper could have won? Does Rey Mysterio just pass these masks out to anybody could use them to get into WWE? What is happening with all of these masks? Are you in on this, Alistair?
I mean, I couldn't possibly say. I mean, I did get some nice media time with Chelsea Green early in the day, but yeah, couldn't possibly confirm or deny if I sort of slipped to that Rey Mysterio mask before she went out.
That seems like some confirmation. You just said you spoke to her at the media junket. We know you got a Mysterio mask. Feels like you're leading on to something here, Alistair. No.
I mean, if I had a mask from Rey Mysterio and had that kind of power, that would be fantastic.
We had a super chat about AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes. Andy saying AJ should have target Cody Rhodes' leg. How to win? What'd you make of the match overall between AJ and Cody?
I mean, I enjoyed the match, and I think actually AJ should have targeted Cody's mother to try and win more.
She was after him.
She was straight in it. Yeah, I was genuinely I didn't think they were going to give the title to AJ, but there was a part of me that thought if they wanted to drag things out over the summer, do the switch there by Cody having to quit to save Mama Rhodes. But yeah, I thought it was I really enjoyed the match. I thought they killed it. I really enjoy what AJ's doing now. He's clearly enjoying himself and thriving, being such a horrible bastard. Cody, I know he's spoken about how much he's enjoying working with AJ to establish who he is as a champion away from the whole idea of finishing the story and having a whole year of having to talk about that. So yeah, I thought they did a really good job.
That's all I got. I've cleared off my quote of questions.
I do have one more. Because you talk to a lot of people, Alistair, and you always do great work with the interviews. And in one interview you did that came out just before Clash was the Drew interview, where you asked about the CM Punk comments and alluding to Vince McMahon and stuff. So I'm always curious how you, someone who gets a lot of high profile interviews, like navigating those kind of questions with certain talent and feeling comfortable asking those kind of questions with talent.
Yeah, the impression I've always got is as long as you're not coming in with a really obvious agenda where you're trying to deliberately disavow, like if you're just asking a fair question, because I've done things like before I interviewed Shawn Michaels for the NXT Europe announcement, things like that. I'd spent the previous 2 weeks writing about all the allegations against Vince McMahon, his states of the company, that kind of thing. But it's a legitimate story that needs to be covered. And that seems to be understood by everyone involved, that, asking Drew about Punk's comments. I can't remember if I named Vince directly in my question, but I know it was obvious what we were talking about. And I mentioned Punk bringing up who called you the chosen one and his reaction. And yeah, Drew kind of went into it saying he had a couple of things in the barrel, which then I was curious and asked him whether he thought he had that kind of freedom that Punk did to go off and talk about those kind of things. And he implied that he definitely did have that freedom, but wasn't sure if it was right for him or the company to necessarily fire those shots on TV. But yeah, I've kind of never had any pushback for things like that. And I've covered stuff that they wouldn't necessarily want putting out there. So not necessarily from me directly, but I remember TMZ posting Jimmy Uso's arrest video. And we ran that on the website. And then a week later, I was doing press at one of the UK shows. So, you know, yeah, there's not been any kind of, it's just making sure it's an actual fair, valid question and not being deliberately contentious or taking things out of context and that kind of thing. So asking Drew about that, I think, is different to maybe asking a brand new wrestler coming to the company. I mean, I've not been in this position, but say someone new who never worked under Vince, I don't think I'd necessarily be as comfortable just bringing it up for them just for the sake of it when it's not relevant to them. So that's kind of the only thing I'm sort of balancing with interviews, is whether it seems fair or relevant to the person I'm talking to, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I thought you did a great job with it, because Drew's been asked about kind of that segment before, but the way you asked it and the way you followed up in the interview, I hadn't heard, like, he's never given that answer before. Yeah. So I also think there's a comfortability with you, because I don't know this for certain, but I assume you've interviewed Drew plenty of times and have sort of a rapport with him in that. But I thought you did a great job with that, and I just wanted to kind of get sort of your mindset when you did ask that, and then also give you a little bit of praise and flowers for kind of just how you handled it and how you asked that. So Alistair, go ahead and let everybody know what you got coming up and where everybody can find you at. The correct one where they can find you at, not the one that I messaged.
Yeah, I had that. Forgot my password, had no two-factor authentication set up on it. So I've been locked out of that account since Christmas. Which on one hand has been great, because I had a few months without going on Twitter at all, besides using like my fiance's account to just keep up on news, and it was so relaxing. Just not being,
which I probably should have noticed when I went to, but I think I just went to our previous exchanges. I went to that one. But the thing is, I saw your tweet, the picture with you, Lucas, and Alex, and I was like, oh, Alistair was there. Let's get him on the show, see if he wants to talk about it. But I saw that, and then so I just went straight to, again, our previous exchange. And had I actually gone to your account, I would have noticed, oh, this account hasn't tweeted since 2023. Maybe I should go to the account that posted the photo and message that account. But I didn't do that. So that's also my fault as well, of just going back to a previous exchange between us and not the actual tweet that the account came from.
Yours popped up on my who to follow, the new one. And I was like, aren't I already following Alistair? What is this? And that's when I was like, oh, I should probably follow that back for a while.
No, it's all good. Like I say, it's been quite relaxing. Just I do need to actually start trying to tweet more, which I was doing this weekend, and trying to actually get out there again a bit. But yeah, I've put the new handle there. And in terms of stuff coming up, I've got some chats dropping, sort of some stuff with Piper Niven, hopefully some more stuff with Drew. Chatted to AJ Styles again. I think I might have put everything out from that over the weekend, though. Bailey, Chelsea Green. Trying to set up more interviews as well. Chatted to Mike Santana for TNA last week, so got some stuff to come from that. And yeah, just keeping busy. Trying to set up. I did interviews with Shelton Benjamin and Elias recently, which I put some stuff out from, and I'm gonna try and get some more lines from that out soon too. And yeah, just keep cracking on with everything now.
We appreciate you, Alistair. Again, you always do great work. Always make sure to cover your interviews, because one, I like you. Two, you always get good quotes out of your interviews, so it's always stuff worth covering. So yeah, we appreciate you, Alistair. Thanks for joining us today. Next time you see Alex McCarthy, give him a big hug from me, and let him know it's going to be okay. Drew will win the title at one point.
That's lulling him into a false sense of security. Normally,
I'm going to punch Alex McCarthy when I actually see him.
I was going to say, I was surprised you said hug and not just a punch, but
no. I've turned over a new leaf. Yes, I want to do it myself. I don't want other people to punch Alex McCarthy. I do want to, everybody, it's like, oh, Jeremy's passed along so many hugs. And then when I see him, just clock him.
He just wants to, okay, full sense of security, and then you want to assault them yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll make sure he doesn't see this. I'll give him a hug and say it's from you. Then he'll really think you turned over the new leaf. And then next time you see him, straighten.
Yeah, exactly. Alex probably kick the shit. I mean, he's a big dude.
He's
jacked.
He's huge.
He's jacked.
Yeah.
He needs to get tested if I'm going to fight him. All right. He's got to get tested first. Thank you, Alistair. Enjoy the rest of
a note to end on. But yeah, great seeing you both again. Cheers for having me on.
Cheers.
Thanks, buddy.
You.
Bye.
Catch you soon. Bye.
Oh my goodness. Alistair
McGeorge. We appreciate it. Yes, there was a mix up with the DMs there, but I'm glad. One, thanks for going a little long here, Joel. And so we were able to accommodate Alistair coming on. And hopefully people got some insight as to the press conference stuff. And then just, everyone likes to rag us journalists for not asking questions and things like that. And I think Alistair does a great job of balancing that.
We ask questions and we don't take donuts.
I would take a donut.
I would have taken a donut too. I'm hungry, man. All right, let's get out of here. We're back on Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern, as we always are. Maybe we'll have a guest. Who knows? Maybe we got something in the can. Who knows? We'll find out. Jeremy, do you have anything to plug?
Condolences to everyone that is killed tonight on WWE Raw.
Jesus Christ. We'll talk about it on Wednesday if it happens. Alex McCardio is actually a very funny name for him. Anyway,
that might be how I have to beat him. Like I do a lot of running, so I feel like I could use angles, tire him out a little bit, a little rope-a-dope strategy. I feel like one shot though, and I'm done. He's a big dude.
Make sure you're wearing shoes. Do not do it with slides. It will be better.
I'll wear shoes. Philly shell defense, maybe.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. By the way, no defense to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead, do those things. Subscribe to the channel, leave a thumbs up, and we'll see you on Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern. I am Joel Pearl, JOELPEARL. Ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.